We're live, by the way. What'd you place an order for?
It's a very fuckboy thing. It's you know how I've been doing a lot of running and a lot of calisthenics and everything to try to like
Yeah.
strengthen the core. I made sure I got one of those crop tops, but it's like the fuckboy crop top that says abs coming soon. I'm gonna wear the fuck out of that.
That sounds like something you would wear. All
It's a
right.
funny shirt.
So from crop tops to I don't even have a transition for that. Welcome back to the show. We're keeping it real. Goes right where Andrew always loves to keep it as real as fucking possible. Welcome back to Real Take Sports Talk. I'm Omer with Andrew. Andrew, the NFL draft last week. We had a lot of fun covering that. 4 hours, big dude, 4 hours of our time wasted basically to like find out what we already knew. Like the first 3 hours of that thing were like the Jaguars, the Jets, and the Bengals making their picks.
The
Like,
bongles.
oh, and then they bungle it. They bungled it too. Anyway, we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about Aaron Rodgers and him possibly leaving Green Bay for greener or more orange pastures, some may say. We're gonna be talking about all the rookie quarterbacks and how they fit into their new offenses. We're also gonna be talking about the NBA. Steve Kerr says that NBA players these days are missing fundamentals. We'll talk about that and much, much more. But before we get into any of that, remember to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. And yeah, we got daily videos, all that jazz that I've been saying for a long time. Andrew, let's kick off by talking about the NFL draft. So the NFL draft was last week. Last week we had the draft. We had all these rookies going to their new teams. A great day for NFL players and a great day for most franchises, unless your name is the Seattle Seahawks, in which case you only had 3 picks. What do you think? What's your biggest takeaway from the draft? We'll kind of start there, and then we'll dive deeper into what happened. What's your biggest takeaway from the draft?
One of my biggest takeaways, just that I noticed after the draft, was the New York Football Jets did a lot more in that one night for Zach Wilson than they did for Sam Darnold the last 3 years in terms of drafting. They made sure not only after they drafted Wilson, they got O-line. I think they tried to get him some weapons, and they have money. I think they're going to try to spend probably shore up the. They did make moves too. Remember they bought in Corey Davis, so they did more for Zach Wilson, who wasn't even a Jet until the second pick. He wasn't even a Jet up until like the first night of the draft. They did more for him than they did for Sam Darnold. That was just one takeaway. Another takeaway that I had was it's a smaller takeaway, but the what is it? Pittsburgh had a need they addressed at running back, and I think Pittsburgh got the dude who's going to win offensive player of the year, offensive rookie of the year. I mean, in the draft, they needed help at running back, and they're going to feed this kid the ball, Najee Harris, who is a stud, and that's pretty much what it. I mean, a lot of the other takeaways were pretty self-explanatory. You knew who was going number one. I don't want to say anything about the Giants because I've heard a lot of mixed reviews on the Giants. I've heard some people who were ecstatic, and then I heard other people who were like, the Giants.
It
fucked
was
it up,
like
so.
it was such a mixed bag. Like for me personally, if I was a Giants fan, I would want Gettleman like out of town today. Like at that moment. Like, look, this is nothing against Kadarius Toney. Like, I'm sure he's gonna be a solid player. I'm sure he's gonna do good things. But he's not a number one. He's not worth a first round pick like that. No, like the Giants are not Kadarius Toney away from making up that gap to win the division or make the playoffs. They're not a Kadarius Toney away. What would have helped them out would have been getting an offensive tackle. There were quite a few, Andrew, as you and I were going through. We were like, yo, the offensive tackles are really falling. Darashaw was available. Slater was available. There were a bunch of people who were available. Offensive tackles, Comsey, Radins, who I was raving about. That you guys
My team might have stolen him in the second round.
Yeah, you guys might have gotten like fuck Conklin, fuck Conklin. Like you guys just found his replacement easily. But
yeah.
so I don't get it. Here's the thing, like you tied yourself to Sam or to what's his name, to Danny Dimes. You tied yourself to Daniel Jones. I understand that, all right? And that's why you didn't get a quarterback, even though Justin Fields was basically fell to you. He literally fell to you, and you said no. That's fine, okay? You have your quarterback. Build around him then, but don't pick Kadarius Toney in the first round and think, oh my God, our team just got so much better. You didn't, because weapons weren't exactly your problem last year. Your problem last year was on defense. Your problem last year is you couldn't stop anybody. Your problem last year was you weren't able to protect your quarterback, and he got injured, and then Colt McCoy almost got injured. So like all these like here's the thing, Giants fans, there was a lot to be optimistic about. I'm not gonna lie, for next year, but it all went right out the window here. You guys didn't get better on the offensive line in free agency. You had to address in the draft, and you didn't. You didn't, and that's a big blight. I know Johnny's not happy about it. I know Johnny's actually quite pissed about it. Johnny was just like, man, like I don't hate Kadarius Toney, but come on, we have so many gaping holes on this team, and no, you just pick a wide receiver, because that's what Daniel Jones needs. That's what Daniel Jones needs. Just another weapon. And he's going to be so much better. It's not like he could use an offensive line to block him, even though he's like one of the most sacked quarterbacks in the NFL over the past 2 years. For me, that's my worst pick, dude. That's like my worst pick. Like, there were some doozies in that first round. I'm not going to lie to you. But if we're talking about like worst pick, worst value pick, worst overall pick, worst fit, it was Kadarius Toney going to the Giants. There was no question about it.
I can't disagree. I mean, in terms of just think about all the other wideouts that were still on the board, man. You guys took Bateman. Like, Bateman, a lot of people had slated as, the third or fourth best wideout. Like, they had him slated a lot higher than Toney, who I think Bateman could legitimately go be a wideout. I think Toney's just going to be a slot receiver at best. So I don't know what the Giants were thinking. It is what it is. Just another one that I'm not going to say it was a bad pick, but Tennessee, I watched them closely and everything. I mean, talk about a high risk, high reward type dude. I mean, Caleb Farley, a lot of the stuff that's coming out on Caleb Farley. I've seen the film, dude. He's a stud. According to stuff that I've seen and heard, he's faster than Tyreek Hill. Apparently, he is now him coming
allegedly.
in. He's allegedly the fastest guy in the NFL. So the problem is the dude just had back surgery, and he also had an ACL tear, and he had all those health issues that leads me to think that he's a very high risk player, because what happens if he never plays, or what happens if he re-injures, like aggravates whatever that was hurt. A back injury is like, those are, I understand Michael Porter Jr. came back from it, but think about all the dudes that don't come back from injuries like that. You know what I mean? So obviously, for the sake of Tennessee, I hope the reward is high, because it was a high risk, high reward type thing. I hope this kid could come in and be a Pro Bowler and lock people down, but I think it was the highest risk out of any team anybody took with drafting a player. I think it was the highest risk. See, you guys got you guys needed a wide receiver. At least you addressed that. You guys got a wide receiver. And the Jason Oweh pick, I like the Jason Oweh pick. You guys are going to mold that kid into a fucking stud. Like, you're going to make him into like a more athletic Matthew Judon, which is going to be pretty fucking scary.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy about that pick. But just going back to the Titans real quick, Drew, I just want to ask you, who would you have rather have seen them take? Because I know you were talking about there were a few people on the board that you really wanted at that number. I think 20. What'd you guys pick? 22?
22. Yeah, the Swiss Army knife, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. Once he fell, I was surprised that he fell into the second round the way he did, and then Cleveland scooped him up. But I think he has legit Pro Bowl potential. I mean, I see a dude that he can rush the passer. He has very good closing speed. You can line him up in the slot. He can drop back and play safety. I just see a dude that can do everything. Basically, him going to Cleveland is just, that defense was already really fucking good, and now they're getting another dude that they can plug in, and basically, he could play anywhere. So Cleveland just got a lot better on defense with getting that kid. That's who I really wanted. I mean, other than that, there weren't really any other players. I mean, we do need an edge rusher. We do have to address that, but I which the dude that we did draft in the 4th round. I mean, no, there's issue. My team loves red flags, dude. I mean, there's issues now with that kid Weaver. We took a first round. We took a kid with health concerns. Second round, we did good with the offensive lineman. The third round, we took a linebacker out of Georgia who literally was on his 3rd agent before the draft. And then now
he went through. That kid went through 3 agents on draft night.
Yeah, he went through 3 different. He
That's
hired
crazy.
and fired 3 different dudes on draft night. And then on top of that, now it's coming out today that the edge rusher we took in the 4th round, he now has assault charges coming up against him. So I don't know. I don't know what to say about that. My team loves red flags. I hope somehow it all just all the wrongs just eventually lead to a right. I don't know if that's possible, but I hope for the sake of my team it does, because I think that edge rusher out of Pitt could be pretty good. Pitt is known for producing the low key dudes that could become Pro Bowlers. I mean, look at Aaron Donald. Look at the Darrell Revises of the world. So Pitt's given you some pretty good players in the recent years, even James Conner. So, I mean, I hope for his sake and for the sake of my team that it all plays itself out and ends positive. But that was my take.
Yeah, I feel you on that. All right. So let's talk about this. Who do you think had the worst draft? Because I think there's one clear cut worst draft story here. There's one clear cut team that did the worst in the draft, and I think personally it's the Seattle Seahawks, because they only had 3 picks to begin with, and it didn't have a first rounder, and they didn't really make a move to try to get another pick at all. Even in the later rounds, they were just kind of we just kind of skipped the draft, basically. That's what they did. They skipped the draft. Your quarterback, by the way, if you're a Seahawks fan, but just so you know, your quarterback was inches away from leaving your team because of the ineptitude of the coach, because of the ineptitude of the GM, because of the ineptitude of the management of the team. If you're a Seahawks fan, that's what Russell Wilson was. He was like, the fact that Russell Wilson's camp came out. Russell Wilson, the person who says nothing, he is if you want a a quiet leader, a leader of your team, the face of your franchise, it's Russell Wilson. That's who you want to be the outward facing face of your franchise. He always says the right things. He never stirs up controversy. Nothing even close to any of that, right? But for him to come out and even hint to his friends, and then for him to look, he's a smart guy. They wouldn't come out in the media if Russell Wilson didn't want it to come out in the media. He was trying to make a point. I can leave anytime I want, and that's the truth. So the fact that you don't make a move really in free agency, you don't have some picks because you traded to get Jamal Adams. Okay, fine. That doesn't mean you can't trade up to get other picks, because you have some gaping holes in your team. And taking another wide receiver in the 2nd round, I don't think that's going to help you. I don't think it's going to help block for Russell Wilson. Again, all these teams I'm talking about, they're taking wide receivers, Andrew. They think wide receivers are the saving grace in the NFL. Wide receivers are going to be the fix to all of our offensive problems. You can't throw it to the wide receiver if your quarterback doesn't have the blocking. If he doesn't have the time to sit there and make a decision, then there's no way the receiver's going to be able to get it, no matter how good he is. Yeah, look at Calvin Johnson. Calvin Johnson played around some shitty quarterbacks. And there were some seasons he didn't do well.
Stafford is a very talented dude, but look at what was around them. I mean, even Calvin Johnson couldn't elevate a team. You need a team around it. And Calvin Johnson is the if you could make a player in a lab, if you could make a wideout in a lab, size, strength, speed, it would be Calvin Johnson. So wide receivers are cool, but unless you got a guy that could A, throw them the ball, and B, he has time to throw them the ball, because you saw in the Super Bowl, Mahomes is what you want in a quarterback, but if he's running for his life because the O-line can't protect him, it defeats the purpose. It doesn't matter how many dudes you line up that he can throw to, how many elite dudes he can throw to. So
yeah. So Seahawks, you definitely had the worst draft. You only had 3 picks. You didn't even use your 2nd round pick on something useful. You already have a bunch of good wide receivers. I don't know why you felt the need to go out and get another one. But You had the worst draft. You didn't get better this offseason. You probably regress a little bit, if anything, and that's not going to bode well for you considering the 49ers might have themselves a quarterback that we'll talk about in a minute. But, Andrew, we'll come back to the draft because I want to talk about this. This is something I want to talk about because Ryan Woodridge, by the way, happy belated birthday, Ryan. Ryan in the chat asks, what do you rate the Packers' dud in the draft? He said 1 to 10. It's a 0, man. You know why? Because Aaron Rodgers is leaving. That's why. Let's talk about it. Aaron Rodgers made it clear this week, right on draft day, that he wanted to leave. Aaron Rodgers put this out there on draft night saying that he told the Packers he does not want to return to the team. The Packers apparently, the GM, the coach, Matt LaFleur, everybody from management apparently has flown out multiple times to try to go talk to him. And he's been very resolved. He's been very vocal about he does not want to be part of the Packers next year. And this goes back to them drafting Jordan Love. This goes back to them not giving him the weapons he really desired and he probably needed to get over the hump. This goes back to last year in the NFC Championship game, the Packers not letting him handle business at the end of that game and trying to go for the win instead of playing for playing for defense and all that stuff that they did. So there's been a lot of stuff building up to this, and then it's sad. It's really sad because I really thought Aaron Rodgers on the Packers was a lifer deal. Like that was like one guy I could not imagine him on any other team, but. Looks like he's going to be on a different team. But Andrew, we covered it a little bit on draft night. There's been a lot that's come out since then. We've learned that I think Devontae Adams actually tweeted out saying like something along the lines of, you don't know what you got until it's gone. And then AJ Hawk came out and he said Aaron Rodgers is not retiring, but he's also doesn't want to play for the Packers. He said there's a 0% chance of him retiring. So he's going to play, but apparently not for the Packers. So what do you make of all this just a few days later from all the news coming out and everything that's come out since then?
I think there's very few quarterbacks can do what Aaron Rodgers is doing. There's only a handful that can do that. And I think there's so many, people believe that, it's the organization. Obviously, the organization people overrules. Within the organization, the GM, the coaches and everything like that, whether it's drafting, signing free agents and everything like that. But you know what? At the end of the day, when you have a player like Aaron Rodgers who has accomplished what he's accomplished, the dude just went out there and won the MVP. And I think it's a shame that he's been so good for so long and he only has one Super Bowl. He's only been to one. Think about that. He's only been to one. They haven't been back. So I just think given what has transpired the last couple of days, this is kind of Aaron Rodgers. Now he's taking a stand the same way Brady did. See, Tom Brady, at least Brady, his contract was up and he could pretty much go wherever he wanted to. Aaron Rodgers, I think his contract's not up until after this season, but he wants out. I don't blame him. And as I said before, dude, I mean, anyone has said this, but Aaron Rodgers has covered up so many holes for that team. If you take Aaron Rodgers off that team, they are average at best. I think Mel even said it on draft night with Fields is projected to start for the Bears. With Aaron Rodgers out of the division, Fields is the best quarterback in that division, and I believe that because Aaron Rodgers, and that's not a slight to the other quarterbacks. It's just I think Fields is going to be that good, and Aaron Rodgers is that good.
It's also who else is in that division? You got Jared Goff and Kirk Cousins. Yeah, I don't think there's that much of a hole to begin with them and Justin Fields.
He's a clear first ballot Hall of Famer. Given the way
I didn't say all that.
No, I'm talking about Rodgers, clear first ballot.
I thought you were talking about Justin Fields. I was like, damn.
No.
It's a little bit of cap, but I just continue.
He's a clear first ballot Hall of Famer, and when you make moves, you have to run it by the cornerstone of your franchise. He's been the cornerstone of their franchise literally since they moved on from Brett Favre. The drafting of Jordan Love, a lot of people were like, what the hell? And they moved up to draft a guy, didn't even tell him. If you're all in on a quarterback, which they should be for a guy like him, you you got to let him kind of, maybe if you're not going to let him have a say, at least run it by him. Like if you saw on draft night, dude, the Chargers, dude, the fucking Justin Herbert was in the draft room with the GM, the coaches, Justin Herbert was there. Like when they took the offensive lineman, Justin Herbert made that pick. Justin Herbert was like, that's the guy who I want protecting me. And when you have a franchise cornerstone guy like that, you got to let him, kind of have a say and dictate sometimes what's going to happen. And the fact that Green Bay has gone so long without even honoring him like that and letting him, at least say, like, I think we should go in this direction. I think you know what? It's going to end up being a messy divorce. You saw what happened to the Patriots, that divorce with Tom. So
it's so weird because this always is going to come back to the Jordan Love. When people ask, like, what went wrong with the Packers here, it's always going to come back to the Jordan Love pick. And it's going to come back to the fact that Rodgers was never even consulted. It's one thing, being involved in a decision, right? But it's a whole other thing to be like, we're not even going to, like, tell you that we're, like, hinting towards this pick. Like, Rodgers was on the Pat McAfee show draft special last year, for those of you who remember, like, before the Packers made their pick. And he thought they were going to take, like, an offensive weapon. He thought he was going to get some help. Like, he genuinely believed that. And that's apparently what he was led to believe, but they ended up picking Jordan Love. And the thing is, dude, look at, like, it shows a lack of respect. Because look at some of the other quarterback situations around the league. When Lamar Jackson was drafted, Joe Flacco was told, like, about the decision that they would probably draft Lamar Jackson beforehand. When you got even Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton has never even played for the Chicago Bears. Andy Dalton has not even played for the Chicago Bears, and he was told about them drafting Justin Fields. You go to Jimmy G. He was told before that trade that for the number 3 pick went down. He was told about it. Like, there's all, like, you can go to all these quarterbacks who, if we're being real, are nowhere even near the legacy, the talent of Aaron Rodgers. And don't even garner the respect, if we're being completely honest about it, in the respective cities as Rodgers does in Green Bay. Like, Rodgers, there should be a statue of that man there, right next to Bart Starr, right next to Brett Favre. But no, because they should have multiple Super Bowls, they should have multiple championships, but they don't, because they haven't drafted well. They haven't given him, like, the help that he needs on the other side of the ball. The team has just not been behind him, and they've done stupid stuff like this, like not involving him in the decision and alienating your best player, alienating the best player your franchise has ever had. Aaron Rodgers is one of, if not the best football player to ever play, to ever come on a field. Like you can say a lot of things. Pat Mahomes might be better or whatever, but he's up there. The fact that you were able to alienate him to the point where now he just wants out of town, that is an indictment on your franchise. It's an indictment on the way things are being run. So it doesn't matter if Kearns leaves. Doesn't matter if that fucker leaves. Doesn't matter if the GM leaves. Doesn't matter if LaFleur leaves. Aaron Rodgers is still going to be out. You can blow it all up. Aaron Rodgers will not be a Green Bay Packer come the season opener. You can bank on that, because one thing we've learned, if you watch Aaron Rodgers over the past year, the dude isn't like the same person he used to be. The dude is just he's just understood. He understands now, like, what life is. He understands that he doesn't have a lot of years of football left. He understands that it's time for him to go out there and just ask for what he wants and demand it, because he knows his worth. Like, that's what the Packers are dealing with. They were dealing with nice Aaron Rodgers for like 15 years. And now the Aaron Rodgers that should have come out like maybe 10 years ago is like, dude, what the fuck are we doing? Like, what the hell are we doing here? You're not giving me any help on the other side of the ball. Defense sucks. They can't stop Brady worth of shit. We're not going for it on fourth down in the NFC Championship game on the goal line. They've done everything. And then, they think, okay, we're finally going to give him some help. Let's pick Eric Stokes in the first round. No. You think, like, it doesn't matter who you pick. You might as well have just picked another quarterback. You might as well have picked Kyle Trask or traded up for Justin Fields or whatever, because you don't got your quarterback next year. Unless you really think Jordan Love is the guy. And I don't know about Jordan Love. We've never seen him play. We've never seen him take a snap in an NFL game. So what are we like? What do we know, right? And the reason I'm getting so mad is, dude, I wish my team had Aaron Rodgers for all those years.
Dude, could you
I
imagine?
wish
right now,
my team had
dude,
Aaron
next
Rodgers
season,
all those years.
there's people that are picking the Giants to win the NFC East, dude. If with the defense they got in Washington, dude, imagine what they got to the playoffs last year on a shell of what Alex Smith was. Like Alex Smith on a shell of what he was. Could you imagine Aaron Rodgers with that defense? That's an 11-12 win team right there.
Yeah, and like we'll talk about where he might go and all that, but like, if you're the Packers, dude, Andrew, you gotta be thinking like, what are we doing? Like, what are we gonna do? Because you're probably gonna be forced to trade him at this point if he's not gonna play. Like if we're being honest, you're probably gonna be forced to trade him if he's not gonna play. And if he doesn't play, or if you do trade him, what's the option then? Like, what's the future for the Green Bay Packers at quarterback? Is it Jordan Love, who the Packers might have an eye on him, but like we don't know what he is. Like, they didn't pick a quarterback in the draft. They didn't really go out and get a backup in free agency. Like, I think they just took Aaron Rodgers for granted, and now it's come back to bite him in the ass. Like, there's not really many quarterbacks available.
I think they thought the relations could be mended, and I think he's made it abundantly clear like there is nothing fixing this. Like, I think he's probably had one foot out the door for the last couple years now, but now he's like he's gone. Like, he's chucking the deuces, and he's like, that's it. Like, I there's no fixing this. So, I mean, Green Bay, it was a good run. I don't know. I mean, it would be interesting to see where he goes too. Like, it would be interesting to see which team, because there's going to be a lot of teams that are going to look for a guy like Aaron Rodgers. It'll be interesting to see. Does he go to the AFC? Obviously, he's not going to go. They're not going to make any deals with the NFC North. So, I mean, does he go to the AFC? Does he go to the NFC East? Like I said, dude, Washington, dude. Imagine Washington, like with the defense they got in Washington, and they'll be willing. If you're willing to give up picks, dude, there are teams I think that could be willing to give up, you
if
years.
Look, if you're the Packers, you could ask for everything. You could ask for the entire franchise if you wanted to.
Just give them. I mean,
and he'd be worth it.
Just give them all 7. Honestly,
dude, pull the trigger on the Ricky Williams trade ×2. But they give him both. Like, give him 2 drafts worth of picks, and Aaron Rodgers will be worth it.
Give him,
it's no cap
7.
there. No cap
give
there.
Him
Like.
7.
That's the thing. Like what would a realistic deal you think for Aaron Rodgers be? Like, if we're talking about real, like, we can say like, okay, yeah, you should take all 7, but like, I think like if we're being practical, like, I would say like you could get more than the Rams or the Jags got for Jalen Ramsey, which was what I think two firsts and a second, something along those lines. You get more than that, I think, or you can get even more than LA got for or was it LA? No, it was Detroit got for Jared Goff or for Sam or
no, it was
Matt
Jared
Stafford.
Goff. It was Jared Goff for Stafford. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
they got
those
some
dudes are good. I mean, those dudes are good, but those dudes are not Aaron Rodgers. Like, I don't know exactly what they would just know. If it's draft picks, dude, I mean, don't be surprised if you see, I'm telling you, don't be surprised if you see fucking New England just decide like, hey, if I could get, I had Brady, the next closest thing to Brady might be Aaron Rodgers. He's like, you know what? If they want to let Mac Jones, develop, bring him along slowly, don't be surprised if Belichick's like, here, just I'll give you 2 firsts and 3 thirds, and we'll send him over.
I mean, if I can get Aaron Rodgers for that, and I'm like the Patriots, if I'm like any team that doesn't have like an established quarterback, I'm at least gonna make that call. It would behoove you to do that. Like Aaron Rodgers, there's never going to be a talent like Aaron Rodgers on the open market, because one thing we forget is like, when Peyton Manning went out to the open market, there was like a lot of uncertainty around his injury or uncertainty around his neck. Even when Tom Brady did his little free agency last year, he was 44. Aaron Rodgers is like what, 39? Like 38, 39? I don't think like He actually might be younger than that, if I'm
Hey,
not mistaken. But
John Elway, man. John Elway might pull the
But no,
trigger
no,
and
no,
just
no.
say, hey, listen.
But Aaron Rodgers is still like he's coming off an MVP season. He's still in the
Yeah.
prime of his career, like dead ass in the prime of his career. So he's got a lot to give for another team, and we'll talk about what one of those teams could be later on in the show. But in the meantime, guys, remember to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. All right, Andrew, let's talk about this. You mentioned his name. So, on the night of the NFL draft, the New England Patriots selected Mac Jones 15th overall. He was the first round quarterback selection in the Patriots since they picked Drew Bledsoe in the early 90s. And when this originally happened, Andrew, you said it made a lot of sense for the team. It made a lot of sense that Mac Jones would be going to the Patriots, very similar type of quarterback to Tom Brady. And you and I also agreed that that might be the best place for him to be successful long term. So why don't we just elaborate a little bit on that? Why do you think Mac Jones to the Patriots might actually work?
So clearly the system works for more of a pocket passer. The Patriots always do everything differently. Don't forget, when everyone zigs, the Patriots zag. So the entire league is going more towards the mobile quarterback, the quarterback that can scramble and throw it 80 yards. The Patriots are like, nah, you know what? You're going to do that. We're just going to go and get a pocket passer, game manager who's, he'll just throw the slant. And it's kind of like old school football. It's something the Patriots would do. And I mean, they had how many Super Bowls with the pocket passer? Like how many Super Bowls? They're always going to have defense because Belichick's a defensive guy. So, I mean, it made sense. It made sense. He is their kind of guy. They're going to make him and Cam battle it out. I think Cam might be the opening day starter, but midway through the season, I think Mac Jones is probably going to take over, and they're just, hand the franchise over to him if they don't make a move and bring in a guy like Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, that would be like that would be like I think an outlier scenario, but so here's the thing. You and I had similar feelings about Mac Jones. Him being an Alabama quarterback, him being, him surrounded with all these weapons. The footwork, the fact that he would lock on to receivers was a concern for us. And here's the thing. I think that a lot of those things can be fixed by good coaching. And there is no better coach in the NFL to go to fix those petty problems than Bill Belichick. I think he's going to be able to get Mac Jones on the right track. He's going to be able to get Mac Jones ready to go and, maybe be a starter. But here's the thing. I don't think it's going to be next season. I don't think Mac Jones is going to be ready. And I think if he does go out there, he's going to kind of be thrown to the wolves, and it's not going to be good for his career long term. I think for the Patriots, it'd be better to just kind of stick it out with Cam, because you also have to consider Cam Newton, before he got COVID and before, he started missing games, he wasn't doing terrible. Like, that offense was clicking a little bit, and then they hit that rough patch in the middle of the season where the offense wasn't clicking as well. But towards the end, they got better. So I think that, I don't want to count out Cam completely, right? As he's gonna falter, and then they're gonna end up just going over to Mac Jones. Because I think the best case scenario is, if you're Patriots, Cam plays well and Mac Jones kind of works on those fundamentals that he has some problems with. And because, again, dude, you cannot, like, the big thing I got from Mac Jones that scared me was locking onto receivers too quickly. You can't do that. You have to go through your progressions. And when you don't have practice doing that, especially at the NFL, the speed of the game is so different. I don't care if you're playing Alabama or in the SEC. The speed of the game is so different. You're playing against professionals. So once you get there, you have to be able to quickly look at the defense, quickly read the routes that your receivers are running, and decipher all of that. And when you don't have a lot of practice time doing that, when you don't have a lot of in-game time doing that, and when you lock on to receivers as much as Mac Jones did at Alabama, I think you need as much time as you can take. Like, I would take as much time as possible if I was Mac Jones to sit behind Cam Newton and just get better at those fundamentals. And then I think he can be a good quarterback because he's got a nice arm. The dude, he's accurate. He's accurate. He can throw an accurate ball, but it's just those fundamentals he has to get down, and no one's going to coach that into him, I think, more than Bill Belichick. the other thing I wanted to talk about Mac Jones, Andrew, was so. Do you think he'll end up working out long term? Because this is like we just talked about how the best case scenario he'll work out, right? But given the AFC East and how good it's gotten, the defenses that are now building up with Brian Flores down in Miami, the Bills defense is no slouch. Um, the the Jets are still the Jets, but you know what I mean. But that's a tough division. It's not your daddy's AFC East anymore. It's not the Patriots AFC East. They're second, third in that division now. Do you think Mac Jones is going to be successful at the end of the day, in that position on the New England Patriots?
I think he will, just because they're not gonna ask him to do too much. They're gonna ask him to do what he's supposed to do, which is just be a game manager. They're gonna run the ball. They like to run the ball. They're gonna run the ball. They're gonna throw their little slants to the slot receivers. That's all he has to do. They're not asking him to be Lamar Jackson. They're not gonna ask him to throw 70-yard bombs like Mahomes or Josh Allen. They're not gonna have him do that. They're gonna have him just stand in the pocket, find the open receiver, or hand it off to the running back like Sonny Michel. That's what they're gonna do. That's what they need. They need a guy like that.
Do you think Mac Jones? So let's say Mac Jones is the Week 1 starter. Do they make the playoffs?
I think they could sneak in maybe as a wild card team. I think this is Buffalo's division. With the defense they got in Buffalo, and Josh Allen's a stud. We saw how good Josh Allen could be with Stephon Diggs. I don't think they win the division. I think they get in as maybe the second wild card spot. But that's where I see them. I don't see them like the dominance that they had the last couple of years. That's over with. It's the Bills division now. Miami, we're gonna see with Tua. We're gonna see now Tua's going on to what, year 2? This is year 2 of Tua. So, and they've made it abundantly clear Tua's the guy. So we're gonna see what happens in Miami. They got a good defense. The Jets could win a few games. So, but I think
I mean,
they might win.
They could win. They could win 4 or 5.
They could win 4. I mean, listen, Cincinnati went from what, 1 win to 4 wins. So
Cincinnati was competitive. Before Joe, even when Joe Burrow got injured, they were still a competitive team.
So I think the Patriots could sneak in as a wild card spot. Absolutely, I do.
Yeah, I could see that too. You think What do you think about Cam Newton? Just off the cuff, real quick. What do you think about Cam Newton? You think Cam Newton?
I think he's past. It's done.
You think it's over?
The Cam of days past is not the same. Honestly, you know what? At this point in Cam's career, I don't know if he could take the hits, but maybe Cam, instead of being a quarterback, could they convert him to like a tight end or something?
I don't know if he could, because again, it's the hits, man. Cam's already had that bad injury history. Cam's already been taking all those hits, and it's gonna be very difficult, I think, for him in the long term to switch positions, because he's for being honest, the Patriots are already using him like a fucking running back. They're just running quarterback power every 3 plays with Cam Newton anyway. So for him to switch positions, I think unless he maybe he could be a situational guy, but then again, how good are his hands, and all that kind of stuff. So all that factors into it. But I think Cam Newton still has value as a quarterback. If I'm being real, I think his speed and his ability to go break through tackles, in the running game. I think that's and dude, he's still got a hell of an arm. He can be accurate if he's given time. I think he could eventually fill out maybe a Taysom Hill type role, that in the long term, and that could extend his career, if we're being real, for a few years. And that's not a bad thing. I'm not trying to say Cam can't do it. If Cam didn't have the injury concerns, I think he would still be in Carolina. I think Cam Newton still has the ability to be great. I just think his body is just so broken down at this point that it's just going to be very difficult for him, especially given his playing style, for him to be an every down quarterback, starting every week, especially in a 17-game season now. It's going to be tough for him, man. So I think if he if he wants to do that type role. I know Tim Tebow recently came out and said that he was willing to come out and switch positions and possibly be a tight end. So like that could be like that might start a new trend. Who knows? Who knows? Like that might actually start a new trend, like of these quarterbacks to switch positions down the line to extend their careers a little bit.
What if Tebow, because he's like, what, like 32, 30. What if Tebow puts together like a 6-year, like 1,000 yards each season?
That's not
like,
happening. No. I
Listen.
would if I know. Yeah, the Pat McAfee show. Yeah, what if Tim Tebow goes on a run here and go just be a Hall of Famer at tight end? No, it's not. I'm the biggest Tim Tebow fan there is. It's not happening.
Hey,
and
man,
if it does,
you know what?
I will eat my hat.
He can sling that bit. He could sling that ball. Hey, you know what? Just know when he's on the field. I mean, I don't even know because they're going to use him at the tight end. I mean, imagine they run an end around with him, because he could sling it. He could run it. Oof.
That would be dangerous. Cam too. Cruel Intentions in the group chat, or in the group chat. Cruel Intentions in the live chat asks, Titans had a good draft, question mark. We already talked about that. They had Andrew, one sentence. How was the Titans draft?
The Titans like red flags, just put it that way. They're two-tone blue, but for some reason their favorite color is red. They love the red flags when they see them. Just that's all I got to say.
You can hear Andrew's full draft analysis from the Titans in the beginning of this stream. But all right, let's see. Tampa Bay going for 2, and we'll get 2. They could get 2 rings. Yep. Let's go Titans this year. King Henry. Ooh, this is a good one, Andrew. Actually, I want to ask you this. So, Cruel Intentions in the group chat asks, King Henry gonna break Dickerson's record with 17 games? Question mark. Andrew, what do you think? Is Derrick Henry gonna be able to break Is Derrick Henry going to be able to break Eric Dickerson's record for 2,000 plus rushing yards or most rushing yards in the season in 17 games?
I think he can do it. I mean, think about it, dude. He needed 200 plus. He needed 200 plus the last game of the season, the 16th game of the season, to get to 2,000. He shattered. Like he clearly was over 200 that last game. You give him that 17th game. I don't know who it's going to be. Like, I don't know. I know the 17th game is going to be like the additional game they added was New Orleans. I don't know if it's going to be against New Orleans. I don't just know how that's going to play out. Like, they haven't released the official schedule yet. But I think with that last game, yeah, I think if he wants to win the MVP, because people were like, oh, back-to-back 2,000-yard seasons, it's hard not to give him the MVP. Like, how do you not give him the MVP? But I think with the addition of the 17th game, the only way he gets the MVP is if he breaks Dickerson's record, which I could very easily see him do it. I mean, he could put up 200 plus in a game. And I don't know if you've seen his workout videos, dude. The workout videos, dude, he's doing like some of the most elaborate shit I have ever seen. He's gonna be stronger this year than he was last year, which is scary to think about. I don't doubt. Lewan back too. We get Taylor Lewan back too. That's true. With this O-line, with this kid we drafted at North Dakota State.
Radens. Yeah, I mean, look. I'm not questioning your ability to do it or his ability to do it, right?
He needs the touches.
But history tells us, dude.
We can't have those games where Vrabel's giving him 15 carries. Like, we can't have those. Like, he got to have 25 plus a game. He could take the hits. He can take the fucking hits. J.J. Watt's out of the division anymore. J.J. Watt's not in the division anymore. Jacksonville is not Saxonville anymore. Just give Henry the fucking ball. That's it.
So one thing we know, though, from like these 2,000-yard rushers, the next season, Andrew, they don't produce the same. And one thing we have to take into account, even with Derrick Henry, is the wear and tear that was on his body last year. Because you don't get to 2,000 yards in a season without, getting a lot of carries. And especially they went to the playoffs. They had that extra game already. So, you gotta think about this. I think Derrick Henry actually could do it. I think if there's anyone who could do back-to-back 2,000-yard seasons, we have not seen a running back as dominant as Derrick Henry over the last few years in NFL history, I think. He's literally he's memed so many people. He's posterized so many people just in the last year. It's out of this world. Most running backs haven't done that in their entire career. He's done 6 or 7 just last year that we can remember off the top of our heads. But But you got to think, Andrew, the wear and tear does get to a running back, especially because they're taking hits worse than a lot of these other players on the field are. Because you're getting hit from every single direction. You're getting hit in every single way. The helmet shots on a running back, they're not like penalties. So, like, you got to think, like, is it smart for the Titans to kind of maybe go down that route? Like, I think, honestly, if they can win without getting Derrick Henry, 25 to 30 touches a game, I think that would be smart. I think that would be smart to, like, not necessarily limit his touches, but if he doesn't need to run the ball, don't have him in there. Save him for when you really need it. Because there are going to be times where you guys really need it. Like in the playoffs against the Ravens.
Yeah, I mean, dude, he's built different, dude. I know a lot of people say built different, dude. He's a defensive end that plays running back. He just, if you want to know what it's like to tackle Derrick Henry, find the interview, read the interview when Tyrann Mathieu, we played them, I think it was week 14 or 15 in 2019. Find the interview, Tyrann Mathieu, after the game, and ask him. He literally says what it's like to tackle Derrick Henry. He gives you a firsthand account of what happened when he collided with Derrick Henry. Just I'll break it down for you. He basically thought he hit this man. He hit this man, and Tyrann Mathieu is one of the hardest hitting safeties in the entire NFL. He thought he broke his jaw, and he didn't even get him down. That's what it's like. He said it was like running into a fucking brick wall. That's what it's like tackling this man. So it could, man. Don't forget, a lot of DBs don't even try anymore to tackle him because they don't want to get posterized. So once he gets in that secondary, if he gets past the first line, dude, he's breaking off a 25. It's 25 at least with him because the DBs don't want to tackle him. They're going to try to push him out of bounds. So,
I mean, look. Like I said, if there's anyone who's going to go out there and do it, it's probably Derrick Henry.
Didn't Terrell Davis do it?
He didn't do 2,000 yards back to back. No.
No, I think he had multiple, not back to back though. I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, it's never been done before. But if anyone can do it, it's him. But man, that's gonna do a lot of wear and tear. It's gonna do a lot of wear and tear on his body, especially during a 17-game season, my guy.
Hey man, he's been in the lab. He can take it.
That is true. And where I've been? On my computer, editing a lot of videos. Got a bunch of daily videos coming out over the next few days. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you get notified for all of that. Andrew, moving on. Let's talk about the Chicago Bears and the new QB in the Windy City. On draft night, we saw the Chicago Bears. Let me restart that. So this offseason, we saw the Chicago Bears release Mitch Trubisky. They moved on from their former first-round pick, who is now officially a bust. We can say it. And this past Thursday, they traded up in the draft to select another quarterback, Justin Fields from Ohio State University. The Justin Fields from the Ohio State University. Andrew, what do you think about Justin Fields on Chicago? I know you love the pick. What do you think he's going to mean? Is he a good fit for the city? Tell me about it.
Dude, he's just a gamer. Like anyone who watched him play in college, Ohio State, dude, he's just a gamer. Like you watch the hit against Clemson, he took a fucking hit that should have broken his ribs, and he might have broken some ribs on that hit. Gets back and throws 6 touchdowns. Gets up and throws 6 touchdowns. He's a gamer, dude. He's a generational talent type dude. Number 1 athlete coming out of high school when he was coming out. He's just, he's big, physical, good arm, accurate. He can do it all for you. The Bears got a steal. And frankly, this was the pick that the Bears needed to make because the GM, after the Mitch Trubisky, after that didn't work out, dude, the GM and Nagy, they're like, this is it. This is their Hail Mary to try to save their tenure in Chicago. And you know what? I think personally, this is the guy. This is the guy I think that could end up saving them. Now, if Nagy doesn't make it through the season, or the GM doesn't make it through the season, I don't necessarily think it's going to be on Fields because they can build around Fields. Fields is the kind of guy they can build around. And think about it too. There's another thing to think about, dude. One thing that cannot be underestimated is when you play on a cold weather, when you play in a cold weather place as up north, Seattle, Green Bay, or something like that, some quarterbacks can't play in cold weather. Like some quarterbacks, some dudes cannot play in cold weather. This dude played at Ohio State. He can play. When there's snow coming down, he can play in cold weather in a place like Chicago against Minnesota. A place like he can play in the cold weather. So I like the pick. I think it's a perfect fit for Chicago, and I wish nothing but the best. As I said, dude, as a lot of people have said, with Aaron Rodgers probably leaving Green Bay, this is probably the best quarterback in the division.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's a great for Chicago, especially like what have we been saying over the past few weeks? Like one of the reasons you and I have been saying that Minshew should probably go would be a great fit for Chicago is because they're literally a competent quarterback away from competing like to go deep into the playoffs. Like think about it. They went 8-8 and made the playoffs with Mitch Trubisky and whatever's left of Nick Foles. Imagine what they could do with a quarterback as smart, as versatile, as experienced as Justin Fields under center. And I think with that defense, we talked that window for that defense is closing. Like Khalil Mack is still in the prime of his career. They still got some ballers and linebackers. That is a great defense, and I think that whole team just got greater. Like you're right. I think they might have just saved Matt Nagy. Might have just saved his own ass. He might have just saved his job because if they didn't get that quarterback situation fixed this year, like if we're being real, love Andy Dalton, right? He was not the fix at quarterback for Chicago. He was not the fix. He was not the person to get them over the hump. Justin Fields very well could be, and I think Justin Fields could be very successful as a rookie. I think he could potentially win Rookie of the Year. I think he could, and that all depends on when he starts, right? But I think he could go very far, and this team, like could go very far. I'm talking about with a competent quarterback, getting that running game together. Like this is a team that could go to the Super Bowl. Like, and that's not capping. Like I'm not capping. It's like good. That defense is that fucking good. We were talking about they could go to the Super Bowl if they had Gardner Minshew. Yeah, if they had any semblance of a competent quarterback, this team would automatically be a contender. And they finally got it. I think trading up at 11 was great. Fields 100% should have been gone by then, but Zach Wilson is apparently, the second coming of Andrew Luck or whatever. But
I don't even know.
But I don't even know either, man. Like I said,
Steve Young was the only other dude ever come out of BYU.
Dude, okay, Zach Wilson, big banga, fucking Josh Rosen from him, but but again, Justin Fields, I think is going to be an amazing fit in Chicago. They couldn't have gotten a better quarterback, unless they had the number 1 pick, which they didn't. But yeah, this was a smart move by trading up. Again, Matt Nagy, you just extended your career possibly in Chicago by a year or two. Make the most of it. Put him in the best situation to be successful, and use him to the best of his ability. You got a quarterback that's a little versatile. You don't have to do exactly like what you did with Mitch Trubisky. Actually, don't do anything close to what you did with Mitch Trubisky. Use him to his strengths. Get him out of the pocket a little bit. Move the offensive line around. That'll help the offensive line, too. There's a bunch of stuff you can do with Justin Fields on day one that you were unable to do with a statue like Nick Foles or someone who lacked, the mobility to the extent of a Justin Fields like
That's what I'm saying,
Mitch Trubisky did.
This is why this dude, in terms of quarterback wise, that's one thing not many people are. In terms of all the quarterbacks that were drafted in the first round, he might be the best overall athlete out of the 5. And that's not a disrespect to Sunshine. That's not a disrespect to Trey Lance, who apparently is a very good athlete. He's got the size, got the arm strength, and everything. Like Justin Fields is
1,100 yards and 12 touchdowns last year. I'm just saying.
He's that kind of athlete, dude. He's that kind of. He ran a 4.4. The dude ran a 4.4. He ran faster than some wideouts. So clearly, you can use him. He can get out of the pocket. I don't know if you watch the college football playoff, the semifinal game against Clemson. That dude was 70-yard passes on a dime, dropping 70-yard passes on a dime after he broke his ribs. You're getting just an all-around talent. So yeah, if you're Matt Nagy, use him. Use everything that this dude can get. He could do everything. Use him. You there?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry about that.
You're good.
I heard everything you said. Use him. Fucking use
Use
him.
him.
Like it's not that hard. Use him.
It's not
Um,
like he's limited. Like it's not like he's limited in what he can do. It's not like you lack some mobility with Mitch Trubisky, even though maybe you lack mobility in Trubisky. You lack like arm strength. Like you're not lacking that with Fields. Like you need to air it out. He can air it out 60. You need him to break out and break off a big run. He runs a 4.4. Like he runs faster than some DBs. Like he can do it all.
Yeah, he can do it all. So the other question, obviously, when we're talking about rookie quarterbacks is, when is the right time to start them? And I think Justin Fields is someone you can start right away. But you have to factor in, they brought in Andy Dalton. They brought in, a veteran to kind of be that veteran presence. They paid him $10 million. Like, what do you think? Like, we know there's going to be a preseason a little bit. There's going to be like 2 games, I believe. So there might be a little competition, but what do you think the Chicago Bears should do? Should they maybe ease Justin Fields in a little bit, or should it just be an open competition and maybe they push Fields up and just have him start right away?
So what I think they should do, and I think they will do, is even though they took Fields, and this is like Nagy, like this is Nagy trying to save his coaching career in Chicago. I think they might take the same approach that they took with the Andy Dalton, Patrick Mahomes, which was, I'm not like, even though Mahomes didn't sit a year, right? Mahomes started.
You mean Alex Smith, Patrick Mahomes?
Yeah, that's what I meant. Alex Smith and Mahomes, where like maybe like a quarter of the way through, like
that year, Pat Mahomes only played 1 game. He only started 1 game.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I think that's what's going to end up happening. I think it's going to be earlier on, though. I think Dalton might be the opening day starter, but I think a quarter of the way through, just so that Fields could, he doesn't feel, because one of the things is when you're the opening day starter, a lot of guys, they press. You know what I'm saying? Like, they try to do too much. They try to, extend plays, like try to make something out of nothing. And he's a young quarterback, and it could rattle his confidence. Like, they don't want to rattle his confidence. They want to make sure, a quarter of the way through, maybe week 3 or 4, whatever their record is, whether it's 0-3, 1-2, 2-1, 3-0, regardless. I think that's when you're going to see. If they're 3-0, I don't know if they go Fields right away, but if they start out 1-2, clearly I think you're going to see a change, and you're going to see Fields kind of, they're going to ease him into, which is what I think they should do. That way he doesn't feel like he's pressured. Like, all eyes are not on him to start the season. Like, it's, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So for me, honestly, I think that if I'm Matt Nagy, I've hedged my bets now. Like I said, any semblance of a career I might have in Chicago is 100% on the shoulders of Justin Fields. You need to do whatever is in your power to make sure he is successful, to make sure he's in the best position to win. And you also can't waste any time. You can't waste, losing 2 games with Andy Dalton potential. You can't, even though Andy Dalton I think might be capable of winning a few games for him. That's neither here nor there, though. I think
with that defense, absolutely.
I think it's better, though, overall for the Bears and Justin Fields if Justin Fields in training camp and in the preseason, right, shows any poise. If he shows poise, like that he's willing to stay disciplined, that he's willing to take a hit, like if he shows that poise, if he shows that he's ready for the moment, you start him day 1, even if you think Andy Dalton gives you a better chance to win if you're Matt Nagy. Because the thing is, the best thing sometimes for rookies, it differs. It differs. I think Justin Fields is the kind of guy, you put him out there on day 1, he's going to go out there and he's going to ball out. I genuinely think he's like that kind of guy. He kind of reminds me in a weird way a little bit of Joe Burrow in his poise. Like, he's the leader. He's ready for the moment. He's been there. He's been on these big stages before. It doesn't scare him. He actually like wants to be there. So I think he's gonna be ready when the moment comes, and that's why, like, if I'm Matt Nagy and obviously if Andy Dalton in training camp and preseason is the better quarterback and it's like obvious at that moment, you go with Dalton. But if it's close and Fields, like, shows poise, I think you have to go with the rookie. You have to go with the guy that you bet your career on, that you bet your head coaching gig on. And that's just it. Because if he fails, it's on you. And if you don't put him out there, or if you don't put him out there early enough, and some other coach comes along and piggybacks off of your draft pick and basically gets all the credit for the success, that's going to be an even bigger indictment on you because you couldn't make it work. So either way, Nagy needs to make sure it works. But yeah, like that's what I think about Fields. I think, regardless, I think he's gonna have a great career. Justin Fields is gonna be like playing in this league for a decade, barring injury. We don't hope that on anyone, but he's gonna do great. Any final words?
He went to a good situation too.
Yeah.
Anytime you can go to a situation like, honest, you know what I mean? Like, other than the Jets, but as a rookie, like if you're a rookie coming into the NFL, I think one of the best things you can go to is a team with an elite defense. It kind of eases the pressure off of you because like your defense can keep you in games. So it's good, and I don't see him. I think the reason why he slipped was because a lot of people look at the Ohio State and that stigma, and a lot of people looked at the failed tenure in Washington of, who was it? Dewey Haskins. A lot of people look at Dewey Haskins and his failed tenure in Washington, even though
Cardell Jones.
A lot of people looked at that.
Terrell Pryor, who still, by the way, holds the NFL record for the longest run by QB.
Well, Terrell Pryor.
Terrell Pryor, he was a solid quarterback, and he was a good wide receiver. Man, like that's a generational talent that was wasted by the NFL, for being real.
He was getting free tattoos when he was at Ohio State. He was getting free tattoos.
Yeah.
That's why they were on probation, by the way. But yeah, no.
That's so stupid. That's such a stupid reason to be on probation, because a kid got free tattoos.
Oh, it wasn't just him. It wasn't just him. He never went to class, never took a single note because he was an Ohio State Buckeye. Never had to take a single test because he was an Ohio State Buckeye. But
yeah.
I think he's gonna. You know what? The situation was pretty good for him. That team. Mitch Trubisky was not exactly a world beater. I think he's more talented than Mitch Trubisky. And like I said, dude, if you're gonna be a rookie and you're gonna go to a team, you go to a team that is, they may not have the best weapons, but he does have weapons and defense. Like if you're gonna go to a team, defense is what's gonna help you. So it's gonna make sure. And I think it might help his confidence knowing that he doesn't look like a guy that gets rattled, but I think it's going to help his confidence knowing that, if he does make a mistake, A, he has more ability where the next drive he could probably make up for it, and B, his defense could also, pick him up. So that's a huge plus.
Yeah. So we wish him the best, and I can't wait to see him on the field, man. I think Justin Fields is going to be freaking amazing to watch in the end. Like, I love these young quarterbacks. They got so much like there's like a different energy about all of these guys, other than, like Zach Wilson, who, God bless him, but scares me.
Hey man, if the football doesn't work out, he's in New York. He could. Don't be surprised if you see him as an Abercrombie and Fitch.
The dude could be a model. He could make bank being a model. Like objectively, he's a very handsome gentleman.
Yeah. Objectively, yeah. I mean, he's already in New York. I don't know. Hey man, listen. I don't know. I wasn't gonna make a point there. Continue.
Do you ever make a point?
I'm gonna drink my water. Fiji.
Okay, good. Fiji. I'm gonna drink my off-brand, Giant brand, purified water, like the rest of the plebs. Anyway, let's get to some big news that we hinted at earlier, but these were reports that came out this week. So, according to Mark Schlereth, according to several reports that have come out, Aaron Rodgers apparently prefers the Denver Broncos as his primary trade destination were that to happen. And apparently the Broncos and the Green Bay Packers have been going back and forth, and some have described them as the trade talks are heating up. I'm not sure how accurate that part is, but we know for sure that they've been talking. We know for sure that if Aaron Rodgers were to go there, that would actually probably be a great situation for him to go there. Terrible for the AFC.
They're going to give the Chiefs some trouble if Aaron Rodgers goes there, because that defense is no joke.
That defense is no joke. And think about the weapons. So Aaron Rodgers potentially going to Denver. Think about the weapons he would have right off the bat. He would automatically have Cortland Sutton. He would have Jerry Jeudy in his second year is only going to get better. He would have Noah
Melvin
Fant,
Gordon.
Melvin Gordon, who claims to be the best running back in the league. That part is to be determined, but Melvin Gordon, who can still play. The offensive line is getting better, and the Broncos had a great draft. The Broncos had an amazing draft.
They still got Von Miller.
They still got Von Miller. He's coming off an injury,
yeah. They just took Patrick Surtain too.
Patrick Surtain is coming. Like, that team is built tough. They've been a quarterback away since of doing something since Peyton Manning retired. And you got to think, if they get Aaron Rodgers, they're able to work out this trade, they would be right up there in the AFC. And they would be right up there in the AFC West as well. Like, give Kansas City a run for their money, like you said. So, what do you think about these reports? What do you think about the possibility? Like, how likely is this to happen?
I think it's very likely. I think that, and they're, you know what, Denver, I could see Denver in more of like you said, dude, they're a quarterback away. Denver might, I don't know if Denver should be in win now mode, but I mean, like you said, dude, if you can go from Drew Lock to Aaron Rodgers, like, it's a no-brainer. Like, just send over, as whatever they ask you, send over the picks, whatever they want. You send those picks over, you get Aaron Rodgers. Any team that adds Aaron Rodgers instantly becomes a contender. Any team that adds Aaron Rodgers is a contender. So you get a team like that with a defense like that, what they're bringing in on the defensive side, like what they already had on defense, they're bringing in Patrick Surtain. You already mentioned the offensive weapons they have. I can see this is likely. It's not in division. Actually, they wouldn't even have to run it. Think about that. They wouldn't even have to run into them. Like, I have to check their schedule for this season, but if they make the trade, they wouldn't even run into Aaron Rodgers until next season, the season after, or if Green Bay somehow makes a Super Bowl and Denver makes a Super Bowl, that's the only way they would run into them. So I think this would be the right move. And if he wants to go there, he's already made it clear he's not playing for Green Bay. So the last thing you need is for him to sit out, and then you can't get anything for him.
Yeah, I mean, like this would be I'm a Ravens fan. I don't want to see this trade happen because that's like one team. Look, the Broncos have been kind of like they've been on the edge. That's why I've been like, you've been watching them a little bit, because even Drew Lock has been shown like spurts of brilliance while playing with the Broncos. He had some great games, and a lot of that's due to the great core that they have around him. A lot of that is due to the defense, the weapons that are surrounding him. But when you have a guy like Aaron Rodgers who can consistently come in there, who can consistently play well, who can consistently deliver at the highest level of any player in this league on a consistent basis, that's when this team takes that leap from, borderline, like picking 15th in the draft every year to like maybe potentially having the ability to make a play in the playoffs, but like even then be a 7th. That's when they go from that to just being like a full-on contender, because Aaron Rodgers is like Tom Brady last year on steroids. Like, and I don't mean that he's doing steroids. I mean that that's his ability. Like it is times 10 what Tom Brady going to the Bucs would mean for him going to the Denver Broncos. I think the Broncos would be immediately better. The Broncos would be immediately in the competition for the conference championship game. I know how much Aaron Rodgers loves those. Hopefully he'll have better luck on this side of the NFL than the other, or hopefully not, since I'm a Ravens fan. But regardless, like, that would make sense. And I understand why he wants to go there, because if you look at it, like, what are some other teams you could potentially go to? Like that makes sense. Washington, yeah, but you got to think they maybe don't want to trade him even in the conference. And what would Washington have to give up to get them? We know Washington's had some troubles in their managerial positions and their decision making over the past few years. So like, what would be there? Does he even want to go to Washington? The other name I think that's been thrown around, Andrew, was Oakland. Or the other name that's been thrown around was Las Vegas. I keep calling them Oakland because I'm old. They're Raiders. So, like, what do you think about that? What do you think about that fit? Would Aaron Rodgers to the Raiders make sense?
I mean, Aaron Rodgers anywhere would make sense outside of the AFC or outside of the NFC North, but dude, any team that adds Aaron Rodgers, like if my team adds Aaron Rodgers, like we're
Okay, let's. Oh, that's a good question. All right, would you pull? Okay, would you pull the trigger on that?
uh
Let's say okay, two first round picks, a second, and you got to trade Ryan Tannehill.
you know what? The only reason why I'm iffy about that is first off, I would love it, but on the other hand, what it would cost us with draft picks, as I told you before, our draft there's a red flag with so many of our draft picks this year. We literally got our draft last year was graded an F, the worst in the NFL, because half those dudes didn't play.
Your first round pick
Too
just
many
just
more. He's
just
not even on
like
the
fell off
team
the face of the earth. He stopped playing football,
So
didn't he? He's a rapper now.
apparently he's a worse rapper than he is football player. Yeah,
Really
yeah,
bad.
yeah. So that depending on how this season goes, like I said before, dude, Farley is the biggest boom or bust. If he's boom, great. If the health isn't there, we fucked up again. That second rounder I think is going to be good. The third rounder, like I said before, 3 agents on draft night, and the fourth guy, he's got domestic abuse charges. So there's that. It's just given what we would have to give up. I don't know if we'd be able to recover because we didn't pick up
I
Rashawn
mean,
Evans'
if
fifth-year
we're being
option.
real, what are you guys gonna do with those draft picks if your GM's the same? Like you're just gonna waste them anyway.
I don't know. I think J Rob. It's weird. J Rob lucks into like third and fourth round like stuff. It's so weird, dude.
So
like,
good. That's why I. That's what do you think I said? Like trade your first rounder so you don't fuck up on those.
he
Like,
lucks.
dude,
He lucks
honestly,
into,
it's if the Packers came to me and asked for that, like 2 firsts, a second, and Ryan Tannehill, it'd be over in a heartbeat. I'm doing that. I'm pulling the trigger on that like yesterday. Like, it's not even a question. Like personally, my team, I wouldn't do that because I'm a Ravens fan. Like for my team, like the Ravens don't need Aaron Rodgers. We got Lamar Jackson, right? It's like the Chiefs. Like there's only a handful of teams like a really like 2 or 3, 4 teams that wouldn't pull the trigger on that no matter what. But like it's like dude, the Titans, man. Like think about the level of play you'd be at. You'd have the best running back in the league, and you'd have like one of the best quarterbacks in the league automatically. And like think about how Ryan Tannehill was playing in that offense. Imagine Aaron Rodgers in that offense
you
and
know
what he
what?
can do.
I'd rather have Julio Jones.
You'd rather have Julio Jones with Ryan Tannehill at quarterback
Yes,
than Aaron Rodgers on that team.
because Julio Jones is an upgrade from Corey Davis, and AJ Brown is going to ball out this year.
Are you
So,
saying that that Aaron Rodgers isn't an upgrade on Ryan Tannehill?
Oh, he definitely is an upgrade from Ryan Tannehill. But if I could have both, obviously I would love that. But
I mean,
can't
that
have them, so.
look. This is the fantasy scenario we're playing with.
Yeah. So, yeah, man. I think I would take Julio over Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, I would personally.
I mean, I don't want the Ravens to get Julio. I know that's been talked about a lot. That was talked about a lot. Like, oh, the Ravens should get Julio. Like the Ravens need to trade for him. Like, I'm like, dude, do you know? First of all, do you know what the Ravens would have to give up to get Julio? Because what the Falcons apparently are asking is kind of insane. They're asking for like a first round pick and the first round pick and a second at least, like to start. Like you like why would I do that for a 32-year-old wide receiver who's getting paid $15 million just next year and then more money the year after? Why would I pay that when I could have, if you're the Ravens, and you could have done this if you're the Baltimore Ravens, traded up to 10 and gotten a fucking like one in like a generational talent in Devonta Smith. But to like be the cornerstone of my receiving game over the next few years. Why would I make that trade? Especially the Ravens. For the Ravens, it makes no sense. Titans, it probably makes more sense because you guys pass the ball more. We're a different type of offense. Like, and also it's just the money. Like considering we got to pay Lamar Jackson next year, we got to pay like all these guys coming up. It's just not feasible. I don't think.
I think the asking price would be a little bit less from Tennessee. You got to understand, we just sent Art Smith over there. That was a strategic thing. Sending Art Smith there was a strategic thing.
Okay, so that's part of the trade.
That's part of the trade. It was strategic. He's going to send us Julio for less than what any other team would ask for. he's going to get his head coaching experience. He might get released midway through the season, and he comes back for a Super Bowl run in Tennessee.
Oh, okay. You guys are playing a long-term game. I see.
No, we're playing this year. Art Smith will have Julio to Tennessee this season.
Art Smith will be on the sidelines for the Tennessee Titans Super Bowl, calling plays.
After he gets released from the Falcons, he's gonna send us Julio. The Falcons are gonna start like 1-7. They're just gonna pull the plug completely, and then a week later, you will see he'll be back calling the plays in Tennessee.
You heard it here first on Real Take Sports Talk, ladies and gentlemen. Art Smith is apparently the smartest person in the NFL.
That's why he took the head coaching job. He was like, "Hey, you know what? We need to upgrade our offense. You know what? Let me go over there. Let me send Julio over here, and then I'm gonna purposely fail over there, and then I'm gonna come back here. And now I'm gonna have Julio Jones, AJ Brown, and Derrick Henry." And we're gonna have a little Super Bowl run in Tennessee.
I'm gonna hold you to that. I'm at the end of the season. I'm gonna hold you to that prediction. Let's move on and talk about the NBA. So there hasn't been a lot of news out of the NBA. There's only two big stories. One of them was Steve Kerr talking about fundamentals and how the current NBA and the current players tend to lack the fundamentals. So Golden State Warriors coach Steve Kerr isn't happy with what he perceives to be a lack of fundamentals in the NBA today. He expressed his displeasure after the Warriors' 126-114 loss to the Minnesota Timberwolves on Thursday night in a game where the Warriors were out-rebounded 57-34. Jeez. He said, and I quote, "This is the modern NBA. Guys don't box out. It's just the way it is." He told ESPN, "Every night on League Pass, I see the same thing. Players let guys come in from the weak side. They think, I'll just get the rebound. It's a disease that's rampant in the NBA. And the problem is, if you're a real small team like us, then it's really going to hurt you more, and it will hurt other teams." So Steve Kerr is, he's basically calling out what a lot of fans have been complaining about for a long time, which is, the lack of fundamentals and a lack of attention to really details, lack of boxing out for a lot of teams. So what do you think about these comments from Steve Kerr? Are they fair or foul?
I have mixed reviews on this. First off, because Steve Kerr, I think that's on the coaching staff. If his team doesn't box out, I know he says, "Oh, I see it a lot of times." I don't know if he watches New York Knicks games, but
Okay, dude. Like, come on.
But that's Tibbs.
You and I. Okay, that's Tibbs. But you and I both know that in the NBA, boxing out, basically have to, if you're most players have a clear path if they wanted to take it to the basket. A lot of them don't because they just want to shoot threes. There is a lack of fundamentals that exists in basketball today.
Yeah, I was going to get to that. So there is a lack of fundamentals. I think a lot of it stems from the AAU circuit, and these kids are taught at a young age. They're only taught, as long as I can dribble between my legs, as long as I can shoot it from the hash mark, as long as I can dunk, that's really all they care about. And it's more about, putting up stats, putting up numbers and everything like that. But they weren't, a lot of kids, if you notice, dude, most dudes don't play defense in the NBA. Most teams. There's a reason why most teams, I'm going to mention this before. Let me just preface this. Outside of the New York Knicks, because when Kerr is making those statements, some of that has to do with his coaching, his coaching schematically. If he doesn't have schematically where, everybody attacks the defensive glass to secure the defensive rebound, then that's on him. Like I told you before, I watched the New York Knicks. I watched for years. The Knicks wouldn't play defense. The Knicks wouldn't box out. Tom Thibodeau, if you don't box out and you don't play defense, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck who you are. You're not playing on my team. So I think there is a lack of fundamentals with a lot of guys. I think a lot of guys have to be taught that. I think some dudes have to be taught that, which is really messed up because it's a result of the AAU system and how from a young age the kids are taught about offense. There's offense. And there's a reason why guys like Kawhi were so, you have guys like Kawhi, you have guys like Paul George, they came from smaller schools and they kind of had to grind it out, prove themselves. Like they had to get on the court by playing defense, and then the offense, spoke for itself. So a lot of these guys do lack fundamentals. I think it's a shame too because it's not going to get any better. And I think with a lot of these rule changes where the NBA, the freedom of movement, where they really want to stress, we want more offense, more offense. It was like, you know what? You're doing a disjustice to these kids because, dude, 15, 20 years ago, every dude boxed. The final score was 70 something. Like you had final scores of the NBA finals were in the 80s and the 70s because there were no second chance opportunities. If you wanted to go to the basket, there was a very good chance, two guys were going to collapse on you. It's just, because the rules don't allow for stuff like that anymore. A lot of these kids are brought up just thinking, oh, I got to be able to shoot it from the hash mark, screw defense, because if some guy comes down and he gets the offensive rebound, he gets 2, but I come down and I get 3, I technically won. So these kids got to get taught.
Yeah, and I think that is like a mindset thing that has changed over time. And the question to me, right, the question that I have in my mind about this is it so much a lack of fundamentals, or is it just changing fundamentals? Or like are the fundamentals like of the game of basketball different? Like have they changed completely from where they were for almost like 56, 70, 80 years? Up until like the past like 10 years we've seen recently.
Like I said, dude, it's a change. Steve Kerr, like he's pointing it out, but he's got to instill that in his team. Like I told you before, dude, anybody who watched the New York Knicks play the last couple of years, we wouldn't defend, we wouldn't box out or nothing like that. It all starts with the coach, and you gotta have a coach who's the guy's got to buy in, and you gotta have a coach that's gonna hold guys accountable and be like, listen, if you're on my team, you gotta box out. If you're with the Miami Heat, if you watch the way the Miami Heat play, they box out. The Knicks box out. Look at a team like the Lakers. All offense. It's all offense. Why are they losing games all of a sudden? Because they're not really, a defensive oriented team. And you see what happens when they don't get the offense, they lose, they struggle, and they lose to teams that they honestly shouldn't lose to because of defense and rebounding and all that stuff. So on one hand, I do think that a lot of like from a young age, these guys really have to get taught that. But on the other hand, dude, it's not like you can't, you can't. It's not like you can't just hold guys accountable and just be like, listen, I box out. Like if you don't box out, you're not going to play on the floor because, like I told you, man, I watched the New York Knicks, dude. A team like Memphis, look at these physical teams. These defensive team, Memphis. If you don't box out, all of them dudes on Memphis box out. The Knicks with Thibodeau, if you don't box out and you don't defend, you're not going to see the floor. The Miami Heat was another one. Why did they go to the NBA Finals? Yeah, Jimmy Butler balled out, but they got there in the back of their defense. So if you don't defend and you don't box out, it's not so much a fundamentals thing as it is, I think, just a heart thing. And the coaches, like a lot of these coaches today are so offensive oriented that they forget that defense is a part of the game. And as a result, the game suffers and the players suffer.
That's a fair point. I mean, look, my thing is like, I would like to see a little bit more of a focus on fundamentals because I think that makes like now I think the fundamentals that you talked about just now and that Steve Kerr was talking about, they're kind of an edge in today's game. They give you an edge. They give you like such an edge. Like you were talking about how the Knicks, like, they might not have the explosive offense like a lot of other teams in the NBA, like to an extent of a lot of these teams, but they have solid fundamentals and they put the pieces in place to do that, right? So for them, they've used that to their advantage, and now like look at them. They're what, the fifth seed now?
A fourth, a team that was the 28th rated defense in the entire NBA last year. The same exact team, the same dudes go from the 28th ranked defense to the first in defensive efficiency because of a coaching change. That's just because he got them back to the fundamentals and just said, listen, box out, defend, rebound, and that's how we're going to win. That's how we're going to give ourselves a chance. When you defend and you box out and everything like that, people say good offense beats good defense, but sometimes the good offense isn't always there. You're going to sometimes you shoot it, it feels good out of your hand and it just doesn't drop. And that's where, you got to corral that rebound. You got to box out. You got to make sure, you got to give yourself the chance on the defensive side to say you're not going to get a second opportunity. We worked hard. We forced the miss. We did all that. You're not going to get a second opportunity because second opportunities have a lot higher chance of going in than their first shot. If you hold teams to one shot per possession, you're going to give yourself a chance to win. It's that simple.
Yep. And, if you're not the Cleveland Cavaliers, you automatically give yourself a better chance to win because, dude, I watched the Cavs game the other night. I've been morbidly depressed ever since. But my team still got a ring. I'm fine. Cheer up, buddy. Oh, man, dude. But it is tough being an NBA fan. It is tough being a basketball fan. Here's the thing. I know, looking at my team every week, we don't have fundamentals. We don't even have talent. Our best player has been Kevin Love for the past 6 years. Ever since LeBron left. I love Colin Sexton. I love those guys. I like Darius Garland's gotten better, but man, it's just we don't have any sense of anything on our team. We are just bad.
Did you see when Kevin Love middle of the play just walked off the court and
just
quit?
Yeah, you know why? Because he said he can't. He's like, fuck this, I'm done. I've given everything to this franchise at this point. I'm done. I don't care. We're not gonna come on, you gotta play for the coach. We're not winning shit. Look, I love these guys, but you think, Colin Sexton is not gonna put us over the edge. Darius Garland, Isaac Okoro is not gonna put us over the edge. That is not the fix to the Cleveland Cavaliers' problems. We would have been better trading back. We would have been so much better trading back in the draft than taking Isaac Okoro. And that's nothing against Isaac Okoro, but it was not a good decision to draft him. It still irks me, dude. It still irks me because the Cavs, they go out there and they make this there were so many better players on the board. There were so many better immediate players, not players that were gonna make a huge difference. There was no player the Cavs could have picked that would have immediately made us a playoff team. That was never gonna happen. But bro, you're telling me Isaac Okoro when you got players like Denny Advia on the board, when you got Killian Hayes on the board that actually would have made our team a little bit better. Jalen Smith. I wanted Tyrese Halliburton. That's a player I wanted. All of these guys. No.
Dude,
not even Obi. Not even Obi Toppin. Not even the guy that you got. The Obi Toppin, who he's having a weird year.
It's not his fault. You gotta say he gets 10 minutes a game because he's playing behind. Dude, Julius Randle was not having a borderline MVP season. You would be seeing a lot more of Obi. And Obi has flashes where he'll dunk on somebody or he'll do a double pump between the air and dunk it. So he has his moments, but right, Obi, dude, Obi hasn't played just because of Julius Randle. If we didn't have Julius Randle on the roster, Obi would be starting, probably doing numbers too. We might not be as good, but
we drafted Isaac Okoro, 5th overall, 8 points, 2.9 rebounds, 3 rebounds, and 1.7 assists.
You could have had Emmanuel Quickly.
We could have had this draft. God, we just find a way every year to make the worst possible choice, dude. We will always, no matter. I can't even say I love being a Cavs fan because I don't love being a Cavs fan. I love the idea of me being a Cavs fan, right? But man, ever since the Anthony Bennett pick, I've lost any sense of hope, any sense of trust at all. The years we made the playoffs, that had nothing to do with our management, had nothing to do with Dan Gilbert. It had everything to do with the fact LeBron chose us. If LeBron didn't choose us, we weren't winning anything. We weren't making the playoffs even with Kyrie Irving and whoever we drafted, right?
Don't you dare say his name because he's ass. Don't you dare say his name.
He's dude,
you know what I'm talking about, right?
Hey, that's the one number 1 pick that we didn't turn into a bust. That he did that all by himself.
Oh, I don't know. I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about the other one. He wasn't number 1. He was a 4 pick. Don't you dare
Oh,
say
you
his
mean
name.
Tristan Thompson?
Dude, don't you. I don't give two fucks. Tristan Thompson, for as high as he was fucking drafted, that man should be. Jonas Valanciunas is better than him. For as high as Tristan Thompson was drafted, dude. For as high as that
Okay,
man was drafted.
that's a little bit of cap right there. Okay, look, Valanciunas. Actually, I'll give you Valanciunas. Valanciunas as a talent was probably better, but Thompson had
Valanciunas
some
could at
games.
least do a
Thompson
post
had some,
move.
hey, Thompson had some games. Thompson had zero offense, but he had some games, man. The NBA Finals, his like 15 rebounds, no points, they helped. They made a significant difference in our playoff push. Like don't like there are okay, but if you look back at that draft, like that was what 2011, right? There were legitimately players who were worse than Tristan Thompson, I think, in that draft.
And there were guys that were better than Tristan Thompson in that draft as well.
Oh yeah. I mean, but who are we gonna pick? We weren't gonna pick Damian Lillard because we weren't gonna have two point guards, even though you can argue that Kyrie, isn't a point guard, right? But wasn't Jan Vesely in that draft? Wasn't Jan Vesely in that draft? Okay, yeah. Tristan Thompson is objectively a much better player than Jan Vesely. I can hang my hat on. Kawhi was in. Fuck. We could have had.
Oh, don't worry. The entire. Don't worry, dude. Kawhi was the 15th pick, so don't even.
Yo, everybody was sleeping on him, weren't they? Yo, we could have had. We would have been better off picking Jimmer.
Indiana drafted
we would have
him and
been
traded
better
him.
off picking Jimmer. When I think about it. Yo, Jimmer's offense, like that's all offense. It's no defense, but you will get he will get you like a solid 10 points off the bench.
Hey man, you know Jimmer averages like 50 a game in China, right?
Oh, he's killing it in China, bro. Man, we passed on who else was in the 2011 draft? We picked Tristan Thompson over Nikola Vucevic. Damn, Nikola Vucevic is tough though. We could have had fuck.
That's 20 a night. That's a legit.
That's 20 a night and 20 rebounds a night. Like damn.
Automatic 20 a night in Vucevic. He just had his entire young career wasted in Orlando. But that's 20 a night easily.
We could have had Kawhi and Kyrie. That would have been so tough. But instead we got the combination of Kyrie Irving and Anthony Bennett for a year. I want to move on from the NBA. I don't want to talk about basketball anymore. It makes me really sad. Let's talk about the NFL, Andrew. Let's talk about Trey Lance. So, in a bit of a surprise move, Trey Lance was taken 3rd overall by the San Francisco 49ers. We got absolutely buried for our reaction video from the draft about it. But he's the 49er now. It seems like the Jimmy G era is over. But Jimmy G did send Trey Lance a text telling him congratulations and he can't wait to work with him. But now Trey Lance looks like he might be the guy. What do you think about this move from the 49ers picking Trey Lance? Is he a good fit for the team? And when might we see him start?
You know what? Jimmy G's gone, by the way. They're going to cut Jimmy G for cap reasons. So Jimmy G's gone. I think he's going to start early. I don't think you trade up. You don't trade up for the number 3 overall pick to sit the dude. He's going to start right away. And I mean, the fit, he's got an offensive guru in Shanahan. I think Shanahan's going to utilize him to the max, to maximize his ability. And Shanahan got what he didn't have in Jimmy G and what he didn't have in Matt Ryan, which was he's getting a dude who's mobile, big, physical, can throw the ball. We're going to see. I think he's going to have a pretty good career. I mean, given the pieces he has around him in San Francisco, and they do have a pretty good defense, I think they're going to contend for the NFC West. I really do. I like the pick.
Yeah, I really like the pick. I think his mobility actually makes him great in that offense because what's the one thing you've hit on multiple times whenever we talk about the 49ers and Kyle Shanahan especially? Whenever he's had the big moments in the Super Bowl, he's had a quarterback that hasn't been able to elude pressure. He hasn't been able to get out of the pocket.
Plays. He couldn't get out of the pocket. But it was both Super Bowls that he was in. Both of them. He had Matt Ryan, though he's a great quarterback, probably going to go to the Hall of Fame. Borderline. He's a borderline. He'll be Falcons Hall of Fame.
Dude, Ring of Honor. Put a statue.
Yeah,
Put a statue.
Falcons Hall of Fame. Matt Ryan. Once again couldn't get out of the pocket, couldn't elude pass rush, and not, I mean, he's got a good arm, not he's not Mahomes, and with the other Super Bowl he was in, he had Jimmy G. Trey Lance is better. He's better than Jimmy G. Just all around better than Jimmy G. Jimmy G was a system quarterback. I think this is the kind of kid you can put him in the system, but also he can improvise. So Shanahan finally has a dude that he can improvise if he needs to. And Shanahan's an offensive guru. I think Shanahan will utilize him very well. I think San Francisco is going to win I'm not going to say win. They're going to contend. They might win, actually, because who won that division? Seattle?
Yep. Seattle won, and then the Cardinals are kind of like that tweener team. It's all on them if they make that next step to the playoffs.
Yeah, they did have Watt. They bolstered the defense with Zaven Collins. So Arizona, it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be between them and Arizona. I think
the Rams, man. The Rams made the playoffs last year with Goff, and now they have Stafford. Like that's gonna be an interesting division. But hey, there's 7 teams in the playoffs now, man. Like all of them. There was a legitimate scenario where all of them make the playoffs. Like that's wild.
Hey, right. I forgot about that. Stafford. Dude, people forgot how good Stafford was. People always forgot how good Stafford was.
Dude, he's going to be, dude.
Well, he is, just because.
Dude, look.
They would only see him play, they would only see him really play twice a year, and it would be against Green Bay, where, they get their asses kicked by Aaron Rodgers.
On Thanksgiving. Right. Dude, imagine being Matthew Stafford for your entire career. Every Thanksgiving you have is going to be fucking miserable because you're gonna have to look at Aaron Rodgers on the other side. Like you're not gonna spend any time with your family. You're not gonna be eating no turkey. Like Aaron Rodgers is gonna be eating turkey on the field before you because he just whooped your ass.
Yeah.
And on top of that, your best player on defense almost every year just decides to step on other players' nuts because
people
that's what
but people would walk away from that and be like, "Hey, this Stafford guy," and then no one would ever really talk about him again because it's the Lions.
See, the thing with Stafford is, I think, look, the Rams last year, they made the playoffs with Jared Goff and the other guy, what was his name, Woodrum or Woodrum,
something like that. I forget.
Wolfram, whatever, dude. Hey, that dude also showed a little promise. He was he's a very agile quarterback, was able to make a good read. I liked what he did in that offense last year, but regardless. Stafford's a huge upgrade on all of that, and then you got him going up there with Woods and the other receivers they have there. Like that could be a dangerous team because they were literally like that top level quarterback away from going over the top and winning the Super Bowl just 3 years ago. Like if they had Stafford then, it'd be like they would have beaten the Patriots. But you got to watch out, I think, for the Rams because they're well coached. The defense is great. The receiving talent on that team is great. They had some problems at running back last year, but that wasn't, that is what it is. But, Stafford's going to be solid. He's going to be driven. He's going to be, I think, more happy. I think Matthew Stafford's going to be like, man, I have the potential to do something. This is the first year, Matthew Stafford can just be like, yo, I'm going on a legitimate playoff team. I'm going to be on a playoff team. Like, he's going to know he's going to be on a playoff team next year. Imagine how excited and driven he must be right now to think that.
Dude, do you remember that throw Mahomes made in the Super Bowl where he was falling and he literally submarined the pass?
Which one? There were 6 of them he did that.
Dude, I've seen Stafford make that throw a lot.
Yeah.
Out of necessity. Stafford can make that throw. Everyone hyped. Don't get me wrong, it's a very hard throw.
I mean, look, okay. So here's the thing. Stafford will make that throw a few times a season. But Mahomes, here's the thing. Mahomes almost threw touchdowns on all of those throws. No, look, I'm not trying to cap. He legitimately almost threw touchdowns on all of those throws.
Stafford doesn't have Kelsey. He's not throwing it to Kelsey. He's not throwing it to Tyreek Hill. He's not throwing it to those guys. I mean,
dude, I'm just saying Mahomes. Okay, fair. Yeah. I mean, look. The throws aside, I think it's that division is going to be an interesting. That might be legitimately that and the AFC North are going to be the two most watched divisions in football next year because you got the NFC West, all those teams out there. AFC North, man, you got the Ravens who are going to be really good. You got the Steelers who knows what they're going to be. They're probably going to make playoffs, but who knows what their ceiling is. The Bengals, coming back with Joe Burrow like off an injury and no offensive line though, but we'll
He
see
does
what
have
he
Jamar
does.
Chase. He does have Jamar Chase.
It's nice to have friends, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then
Tua has Waddle now.
and then you got what else? In the AFC North, you got the Browns who made the playoffs, won a playoff game for the first time in like 20 years. So there's a lot of talent in that AFC North, and I think this might be the year that the Steelers finally take that much needed step back in the division. And who knows, man? They might be picking near the top of the draft next year. And if there's a draft you don't want to be picking, actually, there's one guy I think next year.
Spencer Rattler come out of
Rattler,
Oklahoma.
that was the name.
That kid could fucking sling it.
Dude, he's gonna be something interesting. He reminds me a lot of reminds me so much of like Kyler Murray, like so much of Kyler Murray. But he's got a bigger arm. He's got a bigger arm. This dude's got a
That's what I'm
fucking
saying, dude.
cannon.
He's got a bigger. People have said he's got like a Mahomes arm, but he can run it like Kyler Murray, and he's coming out of the Lincoln Riley system too. That system produces quarterbacks.
It does produce quarterbacks from time to time. All right. Yeah. Oh, I have one more question. So I have an interesting scenario to throw out there. Let me know what you think of it. Sure. So I don't think Jimmy G is gonna be cut. I think they're gonna find a trade partner. Now, granted, like Jimmy G, like think about it. What's a team that's desperate enough for at least a transitional piece of quarterback that they're willing to throw away some cap room for a quarterback on that contract? And what's a team that might not have a quarterback on their books this year because he might be on the commissioner's exempt list, considering the trouble he's in? I think legitimately there's a case to be made for Jimmy G going to the Houston Texans and being a transitional piece there. Because think about it. Like the Niners might actually give you draft picks. I legitimately think they might be able to pull off what the Cleveland Browns were able to pull off for Brock Osweiler. You remember when Houston wanted to get out of Osweiler's contract and they ended up like trading Osweiler and a second-round pick over to Cleveland, and then Cleveland just ended up cutting him anyway. I think you could see something very similar there to happen with the Houston Texans. Because Houston, God knows they need some picks. God knows they need a rebuild. Look, I would be like San Francisco. You're going to cut him anyway. You're going to take that money. Let us eat some of that money. Essentially buy like a second-round pick off of them. And I think San Francisco might actually just be like, oh, well, yeah, okay, cool. They'll be able to get out of a lot of money from this contract. They'll be able to, maybe they'll be able to start fresh. Jimmy G might be able to show that he's got some ability to be a quarterback if he can stay. Because here's the thing too, Jimmy G's not he's not bad. I think that's what gets lost in all of this. Jimmy G was not a bad quarterback. He's a quarterback that can be successful if you have the right pieces around him to kind of make up for what he lacks in. And what he lacks in is just the consistency in throwing the ball down the field and staying healthy, obviously. That's the biggest knock on him. He can't stay healthy. I think if he can show that he can stay healthy, he could still be a guy, like a starter somewhere else. So I think, Houston, one way or another, even if Deshaun Watson figures out his stuff, and then all that stuff gets sorted out, he's not going to play for the Houston Texans. He made that abundantly clear. They're going to need another quarterback. Another thing they need are picks. So I think if they're able to figure out kind of a Osweiler deal, like the Houston Texans did with the Browns back in the day, I think that could be enticing. That's the one scenario where I see Jimmy G actually being traded, because the Houston Texans are also a team that's in that rebuilding mode that would probably pull the trigger on something like that.
They need draft picks, though. They don't have the draft capital to trade. No,
they do. No, they do have the draft capital to trade.
Dude, I thought they traded years worth of draft picks.
No, well, not second round. Well, no. I'm saying they could probably. I think so. They traded next year's second rounder. So the year after, you could I'm saying you could work something out. I think they could get some value for the Houston Texans could get some value for trading for Jimmy G. Whether it's a second, maybe a third. And look, if I have to give up a third rounder to get Jimmy G off my books if I'm the Niners, especially when I think I've got the guy in Trey Lance, I'm gonna at least consider it. like highly consider it because I'm not paying Jimmy G. And so it's like that's the thing. And I think Houston could look, they did it last time, right? They were the team that did this. So it would kind of be poetic justice if they were able to pull it off again. And I think again, that's the only scenario where he gets traded. Anyone who thinks Jimmy G is going to get traded with that contract to any team, there's really nowhere for him to go. All the other teams have their quarterback situations sorted out for better or worse. There's really no team that's that desperate for a quarterback that Jimmy G would be an improvement on who they have.
I don't see a team trading. I could see him getting. I mean, your scenario could work, but I
Oh
mean,
yeah, no. Don't get me wrong. This is like a 10% chance of happening. 90% chance he gets cut. But I'm saying that's the only way I see him being traded. There's no other way.
Yeah, I think I think he gets cut. Your scenario works, but I think he's gonna end up getting just for cap purposes, and then he might probably go back to New England or something like that because Belichick loves Jimmy G. Porn star Jimmy.
Man, hey, look, Jimmy G, man, God, I wish he could have stayed healthy. I actually like Jimmy G. I did not. There were a lot of people who hated Jimmy G. I was not one of those people. I think if he had stayed healthy, he would have been fine in the NFL. What else we got on the books? We got anything else to talk about?
Yeah, LeBron James is being a bitch.
We'll talk about that. I actually wanted to talk about that with you, but let's finish up our draft convo first. All right, so you mentioned, so let's talk about some superlatives. That's the fun part that I wanted to do with you. So, Andrew, who do you think wins Rookie of the Year? Sorry. Who? All right, Andrew. Draft was this weekend. Who do you think wins Offensive Rookie of the Year next year?
Offensive Rookie of the Year. I like Najee Harris if he gets his touches, which he's going to get his touches.
Who's going to block for him though?
Well, that's what I'm saying. If it's not him, I could see either Jamar Chase or Waddle. I think Waddle. I could see Waddle getting it.
I think that's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting to see how much Miami's gonna throw the ball, because we know that's one thing that Tua, he threw the ball, but there wasn't a lot of downfield success for that team with Tua Tagovailoa, and it's going to be Justin Fields. I think it's gonna be Justin Fields. No question in my mind, it's gonna be Justin Fields if he starts day one. If he doesn't start day one, then I'm going to say it's going to be Sunshine, your boy Sunshine. I think Trevor Lawrence is probably going to end up being Rookie of the Year. The only way I don't see that happening is if Justin Fields starts day one, which I think they're probably going to lean on the safer side and not start him day one. But I think he's got the comfort around him. He's got the support of the organization around him. Does Trevor Lawrence? I think Lawrence he's got some weapons there. I think down in Jacksonville, they've got two really good running backs. The offensive line is sus. I'm not going to lie to you. The offensive line is pretty sus. They're rebuilding that defense. They did a good job drafting in the later rounds on the defensive side of the ball. But I think he's going to be in a position where he's going to have a moderate amount of success as a rookie. And with Urban Meyer being there especially, we're going to finally get to see what Urban Meyer does in the NFL. The long-awaited question. Is he going to be the big-time college coach to come over and be successful? Because we know that Chip Kelly came over, wasn't successful. Nick Saban came over, wasn't successful. Matt Rule's come over, iffy results there.
Hey, he got a 7-year contract. They're playing the long game with that one.
They are. Someone's playing a long con with that one. That's all I'm going to say about that. But I think that going back to you got me calling him Sunshine now. Going back to Sunshine, Trevor Lawrence. I think that he's going to. I think he's going to have a lot of success. And look, I think he could actually develop some good chemistry with those receivers and ball out. I think he's probably going to win Rookie of the Year. Again, the only way I don't see that happening is if Justin Fields starts day one. I think Justin Fields otherwise is in the better position on the team to be successful.
Another dark horse one I have, just Kyle Pitts. Just because the Atlanta offense puts up points.
He will catch a bunch of touchdowns. He will catch
a
shit ton of passes. That thing is for sure.
Atlanta's problem wasn't offense. They could put 40 points up. Their problem was they couldn't stop other teams from scoring. So I think Kyle Pitts is going to catch a bunch. Kyle Pitts might lead rookies in touchdown catches, by the way, this year.
Yeah.
That's my dark horse one. Imagine it's Kadarius Toney. Huh.
Yeah, if Kadarius Toney wins Rookie of the Year, I'm not gonna
I
make
will
that
shave
bet.
my head on the stream.
Are you sticking to that?
Yeah, I'll stick to it.
If Kadarius Toney, all right. So
Yeah, offensive rookie of the year.
if Kadarius Toney wins Offensive Rookie of the Year, Andrew will shave his head, and I am now the biggest Kadarius Toney fan in the world. Forget everything I just said about him in the beginning of the show. Kadarius Toney for MVP. Let's go. Let's move on to Andrew. Who do you think was the worst first round draft choice for a team in the draft?
Worst first round draft choice.
There were a few. There were a few where we were kind of like, I think passing on Penei Sewell was one where we were like, I don't know if that's worse though.
Worst first round draft choice.
I mean,
Is honestly, and I mean this wholeheartedly. Like this is not like I'm gonna preface this by saying that you know my bias, but I just think relative to like the team and like
don't say it. Come on.
Come
on.
dude,
come on.
Robinson was a better dude. The running back.
Okay. I thought you were about to say Trevor Lawrence, and I was about to be like, bruh.
No. The dude they took with the
I
second
understand.
pick, though.
I understand Etienne. I understand
Because the running back situation, they already have a very productive, very good running back. There was no need to draft Etienne. Like, what are they going? Are they going to split carries?
Look. I mean, you're right. Like, even though I had Etienne going, I literally had Najee Harris and Etienne going like exactly where they did. But and the reason I did that was the comfort thing, and that's kind of what we saw in this draft, dude. This was a draft where a lot of teams, everyone apparently except for the Green Bay Packers, were making their quarterbacks really comfortable. Like they were bringing back their boys, whether it was Etienne being reunited with Lawrence, whether it was Waddle and Tua Tagovailoa for the Dolphins, whether it was Jamar Chase now being on the Bengals with Joe Burrow. This was a draft of comfort. Like people got guys they're comfortable being around, and you saw kind of the input that these young quarterbacks had, and I think that's kind of what went along with it. So like here and like that's the thing, right? The Jaguars would have honestly been better off probably picking an offensive tackle, like shore up that offensive line definitely. But at the same time, if your franchise quarterback wants a guy, what were we just talking about in Aaron Rodgers? Like you don't make the franchise quarterback happy. Like nowadays, players have a lot more control than they used to. So, I mean, I think that's kind of what went into that decision. And I'm not disagreeing with you though. I think Robinson's actually like they got him for nothing. He was undrafted. Saying. They got him for absolutely nothing.
Like, if they got a young stud like that already, like I get now they have two young running backs, but you already have a young stud there. I get the fit thing. I just think relative to what the team already had, like. They didn't need a running back. They already had a running back. That's why I think that I'm not going to sit here because you got to think about it too. When a team drafts a defensive player, I don't necessarily think a defensive player can be a bad thing because you can always bolster your defense. And unless the offensive lineman that's being drafted, like the only other worst pick I would say might have been the Kadarius Toney, but the jury's out on that. But then again, like because the Giants needed offense, if they didn't need any, like they already got Shep. Evan Ingram, like they got those dudes. You know what I'm saying? Like
Saquon,
that's what I'm saying. Like they didn't need another wideout. So I just think relative to what the team needs, like you got to protect your quarterback. I think they could have gotten. I really think they could have gotten if they wanted ETN. They had the first pick in the second round, right? I think they could have got. He probably would have been there. Yeah,
he would have been there. He definitely would have been there.
You could have gotten an offensive lineman there, and he would have been there.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. Next question: biggest fall in the draft. I can answer this one. I think for both of us. It was what?
We've answered this already. So all right, Harry, give me yours actually because there was one there. I think you and I were both thinking like
the fact that like Justin Fields fell to 11 was like atrocious. Then the other one I would say would probably be even though he only fell like 2 spots, Panay Sewell, like him dropping like to like what he dropped like number 5, number 6, whatever. Like that was like insane. But here's the thing, like aside from those guys, if we're talking about a real drop, for me, the biggest drop was Trevon Moehrig. I like that dude fell into the mid-second round. That is a first round like DB talent, a first round safety talent, and he went in the second round. And it's weird. I had him going to the Raiders in the first round, and they picked like what 17 or something like that. He went to the Raiders in the second round, so he made it all the way back, like to the second round on the same team. So like the fact that teams like passed on him, like you're talking about Eric Stokes was picked before him, like all these guys, like that was the biggest one because he's like someone you can plug and play, and he's like a game changing safety. Like he's gonna be a baller. And the Raiders got themselves a good one. They should have had one earlier, but hey, I guess they're the smart ones now for taking him when no one else apparently wanted to. So that was crazy. Like, that was even someone like who the Ravens, like, I would not have been mad if the Ravens, instead of taking Rashad Bateman, had taken Trevon Moehrig. So, like, that was a big drop for me.
I think another one for me, that's yours. I kind of have two. One of them was a bigger drop than the other one, but I think Micah Parsons fell a lot lower than he should have. Like, that was there were a lot of people who thought he might have been the best defensive player overall. And what did Jerry get him at? Like 18, 17, 18? Like Jerry traded back and still got him.
Yeah, that was an unexpected drop for him.
There was that one, but the other one for me was Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah fell to the second round.
Oh,
like I'm surprised he even made it out of the first round, dude. Think about a lot of teams trying to shore up their defense. Like I wanted him at 22 to Tennessee, dude. He was almost there for us when we were picking in like the 50s. Like he was almost there. Like he was taken, I think, early in the second round, but still, it was like he shouldn't have fell to the second round.
Kadarius Toney, man, it's a first-round pick. Kadarius fucking Toney.
Mind you, he got picked before Row the Boat. You guys took Row the Boat. They took him before Row the Boat. They drafted a slot receiver when they could have rowed the boat. They
drafted literally Tavon Austin, dude. I literally, they're the same player to me. But anyway, that aside, all right, Andrew, biggest game changer. Who's gonna make the biggest day one impact of all these rookies on the team?
Out of every rookie that was taken, I think the biggest day one impact, I think it's going to be between Sunshine and Fields. It's going to be a quarterback. I think it's going to be between Sunshine and Fields. Because obviously Sunshine went number one for a reason. Fields, I think because Nagy, depending on when Nagy decides to play him, if Nagy plays him day one, he's definitely going to make an impact. Those two are the ones I really think might make the biggest impact. The other one I could see as a dark horse, maybe to make an impact, would be Caleb Farley. This is not my Tennessee bias either. Our defense was horrible, dude.
You're praying he makes an impact. You're just praying he makes an impact.
Just put it this way: if he's there to make an impact because he doesn't have a setback because of the back surgery or something like that, I'm praying, dude. Because just apparently he's apparently a top 10 talent, but because of the injury history, he slid. So that's what I'm hoping. But he's a dark horse one. I think personally, though, the two biggest ones are going to be between Sunshine and Fields, just because of the quarterback position being so important.
Interesting. Someone in the chat just said, no cap hit problem with Jimmy. Niners keeping him per GM, owner, and coach.
Yeah, they're gonna cut him.
I mean, if there's no cap hit, I don't know. Again, I think that okay, if there's no cap hit, that makes that my trade scenario probably a little more likely. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't. I don't care. Whatever. Good luck to Jimmy G. We love to see him. Andrew, let's get to our final takes. Actually, yeah, let's get to our final takes. But I do have one question before you just rant about the Knicks or the Mets or whoever. LeBron James was in the news, and for multiple reasons. So the one I want to talk to you about was LeBron made some comments about the play-in tournament. And he talked about how the play-in tournament was essentially a waste of time. It shouldn't exist. I'm paraphrasing, of course, but he said something along those lines that got a lot of ire from NBA fans of teams that are probably not doing as great. Not my team, because my team's just not even close to being in the play-in tournament. Go Cavs. But what do you think about those comments about LeBron saying the play-in tournament's a waste of time, shouldn't even be happening? It's bad for the game.
So what he said, and I quote, "Whoever thought of that shit should be fired." That's the unexplicit quote, of course. That's directly quoted. Now, my take is, first off, it's funny how it comes around full circle. A couple months ago, he was talking about how it was a great idea. It was a great idea. Let Sacramento, let Portland, let those teams that are, on the cusp, let them battle it out for a playoff spot, right? That was nice when you were sitting in the one spot and you probably weren't going to have to see any of those teams, right? In a one and done scenario. Now, all of a sudden, when you find yourself on the cusp of that play-in tournament and you are potentially a Steph 50 piece away from getting from sitting home and watching the playoffs, now all of a sudden it's a bad idea. I think he's being a little bitch, and I also think that because of how far
Jesus, come on.
I think
now.
Because of how far. Listen, man. Because of
I
how
was that
far,
angry. That was unnecessary, my guy.
because of how far the Lakers have fallen, I just think that he kind of sees the writing on the wall, and he realizes that he's 37 years old, or 36, however old he is now. He doesn't recover as fast. Mind you, if this was like a couple years ago, no issue, because he would be able to come back from this injury, activate playoff mode. His playoff mode, because of the injuries, the injuries, if he activates playoff mode, his playoff mode at this stage in his career is not the playoff mode of 10 years ago. Therefore, he's not going to be able to have the same impact. He's going to need his teammates to step up. And frankly, his teammates have shown, even in his absence, and given how they've gone in this losing streak, that they can't. Anthony Davis is not producing the way he should be, though they are trying to ease him back in from his injury. Kyle Kuzma, I don't know why. I think his name is bigger than his game at this point in his career. Dennis Schroeder, he's good, but Dennis Schroeder, there's a reason why I don't think Dennis Schroeder can really lead an offense. Everybody else, dude, is, Danny Green's gone. He was a championship pedigree. He was a glue guy. I don't see them making that big run that a lot of people think they're going to make. And his comments about the play-in tournament, it being dumb, it being a bad idea, that's him showing his hand now. He's scared. He realizes that I think he realizes now that if they get to the playoffs, dude, listen, think about what their road would have to be. If let's say they're in the play-in, let's say they survive the play-in, right? Who would they have to play? Probably Phoenix in the first round or Utah in the first round, right? Then if they win that series, you got to play either Denver or Portland, a team like that. Not an easy series. Then you got to play probably who? The Clippers maybe in the conference finals. And on top of that, let's say you survive all that stuff with all that wear and tear, then you got to play who comes out of the East, which is either going to be Brooklyn, Philly, or Milwaukee. Outside chance of the Knicks, but you get the point. Is you don't have an easy road to a championship, and given how he's not as young as he used to be, the injury is clearly, I don't think he's ever going to be 100% again. The injury history.
Yeah, even he said he wasn't going to be 100% ever again.
So I think he realizes the writing is on the wall, and it's a lot easier to say, oh, the play-in tournament's a great idea when you're not going to have to worry about it. Now, when literally, dude. Let's say they're in the play-in tournament. He is potentially a Steph Curry 50 piece away. Steph going off for 50. He's that away from watching the playoffs from his couch in Malibu.
I mean, you said a lot there. One of the things I will agree with you on is that I think now that the shoe's on the other foot, so to speak, that LeBron is kind of changing his tune. Right, because he didn't expect to be playing in the play-in tournament. He didn't expect to be the 7th seed right now, but alas, he is.
Can I interject real quick too? Just
go ahead.
I want to interject. I'm sorry. Let me just interject real quick too. Those teams that he mentioned he would have to play against, right? The Sacramentos, the Memphis, the even Golden State. Steph might be a little bit older, but young teams, right? LeBron is 36. He's got veterans on his team. You understand those are teams playing with house money. Those are young guys. Listen, LeBron at 36, 37, he's not going to dive on the floor for a loose ball. Whereas John Morant, you got the stars on these young teams like the John Morants of the world. You know what I'm saying? The John Morant, even Dame. Those guys are going to dive on the ball for like dive on a loose ball if it means like staying in the playoffs. LeBron at this stage is not diving on a loose ball. Outside of Alex Caruso, who only has 6 fouls to give, nobody on that Laker team is going to do that. So therefore, those other teams are going to play harder. And in a one and done scenario where if a guy gets hot, which Steph could get hot, Morant could go off and drop 40. You got something like that, especially with young upstart teams that they might be a step quicker just because they're young, like young teams are willing to do the extra to stay in, and because they're young, it doesn't take as much of a toll on their body. That's what he's worried about. You got a team like Sacramento, dude. De'Aaron Fox could go out and drop 40 on you, and De'Aaron Fox will dive on a loose ball. So that's another thing you have to take into account is because this Laker team is older, they're not willing to do the extra that it takes to stay alive.
That's fair. I mean, we'll have to see. He's gonna have to play in it. So, well, it looks like he's gonna have to play in it. So, better get ready one way or another. Andrew, you got any final takes? How are the Mets doing? You got any Mets takes?
We won yesterday. That was a wild game. I'm not even getting into that. Beat the Phillies. Took that series 2-1. Jacob deGrom is the best pitcher in baseball. No, man, I want to talk about the Knicks, dude. The Knicks we're up 11 right now at the half on Memphis. I think we only have 8 games left in the season. If New York we're on a we have a road trip out west. If we win 4, think about this, dude. We have 36 wins. If we go 500 during these last 8 games, that's 40 wins for the New York Knicks, and we'll almost undoubtedly lock up the 4th spot. With the losses to Boston and I think Atlanta lost, we're gonna lock up that 4th spot and we could host a playoff series. I'm excited, dude. I don't think New York. I mean, fingers crossed. But if we go 500 during these next 2 weeks, we're not in the play-in tournament. We're locked in a playoff spot, which is lit.
You guys think you got a chance at the East?
We have an outside chance. I think the first round series is gonna be a tough series, but then again, anything could happen in the playoffs, dude. Don't forget, Miami was what a 5 seed last year, 6 seed. Miami wasn't a high seed. Miami went to the finals last year. So,
yeah, you guys are doing better than them.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, we have an outside chance. Like, if it gets to and Miami is a team that I think because they play hard, like they kind of play the way the Knicks do. They're a team that could give Philly trouble. They're a team that could give the Nets trouble. I think the Knicks, we can definitely win a playoff series. Anything after that, though, is gravy. Like, I'm not expecting anything more. Like, if we lose the first round playoff series, I won't be upset because we weren't even supposed to be in the play. Like, people were talking, play-in tournament was like the ceiling for this team. Now
you were talking that. I remember you talking about that, like, before the season. Like, yo, we got a chance at the play-in tournament.
We had the play-in tournament. Now the chance that we could host. Even if we don't win the series, this season was a success. We use this as a building block for the future. But I think we have an outside chance to, if we get hot, we could potentially go to the East Finals. But a lot of it depends on what happens. Like, if we win our first round series, and let's say we're the 4th seed, if we win our first round series, Brooklyn has injury problems, and Brooklyn gets knocked out in the first round by the 8th seed, we could see ourselves in the Eastern Conference Finals against either Milwaukee or Philly. Or it depends on who's in that set. I think Philly's in the number 1 spot right now. So, anything could happen. That's all I got to say. Anything could happen.
Anything could happen. That's true. Any other final takes? Anything on your mind you want to get off? I know you ranted on LeBron. You ranted about you didn't rant about the Mets, but yeah, I think
I'm not talking about the Mets. I'm just gonna we're playing the Cardinals tonight, so that's a heated rivalry we have. I'm hoping for the best. It's I really don't have much to complain about for the Mets.
That is like. No one watching this knows how rare that is. Andrew having nothing to complain about. That is rare.
I'm hyped for the Knicks playoffs, man. That's all. I'm hyped.
All right, I'm hyped for you, man. I'm hyped for you. Anything else on your mind before we play it out?
No, I'm good.
All right, Cool. I got nothing on my mind except tomorrow night, Real Take Wrestle Talk is coming to you live. We're going to be breaking down our live preview for Blood and Guts. For those of you wrestling fans, be sure to check that out tomorrow night, 8:30 p.m. right here on the YouTube channel. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that like button. You know, every time you hit the like button, you know, Andrew gets closer to giving us a smile. So be sure to do that to help a child smile today. Yeah. And be sure to check us out for daily videos. I got a new series called Sports Revisited. I'm revisiting big moments in sports. So check that out. I got the first episode of that dropping tomorrow on a very special topic. Sure you guys will like that. Also, more videos. And if you want to, throw us $2 on Patreon just for the hell of it to make me happy to do this. It's not gonna, you know, you're not paying my bills, but you'll make me happy. Anyway,
Every little bit helps.
Every little bit helps me recoup the cost of all of the equipment I bought for this when I went all in. But regardless, remember to subscribe, like if you haven't already, guys. Thank you so much for keeping up with us. Thank you for the chat. The chat was lit today. Man, Cruel Intentions. I've not seen you in a while. Ryan Woodridge, again, happy birthday. Happy belated birthday to you, Ryan. And some new people as well. Be sure you like I said. I already said that. Anyway, hopefully Johnny G will be back next week. I'm in talks with him, in negotiations, as we would say, with Johnny G to potentially return next week to take hosting duties off of me because God knows I'm bad at it. But we'll see about that. I'll keep you guys updated. Remember to follow at Real Take Sports. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow us on Facebook at Real Take Sports as well. Instagram, Real Take Sports, and patreon.com/Real Take Sports. Until next week, Andrew, say bye to the people.
Bye.
We'll see you guys next week. Later.